by now.
Well, I'm not.
It's fucking Novocaine, and he's not fucking dead!
Daredevil is a New York superhero. We're not shooting this in Budapest. We're here on the streets of New York.
You have this picturesque view of the city.
Yeah.
The backgrounds are the backgrounds. There are no green screens. We made New York City a character.
It was beautiful.
Hell yeah. Sir.
Shooting in New York.
It lends so much to every shot. The cars, the noise, the visuals, the people. It would be impossible to recreate. It's in the fabric of both of these men.
I'm gonna make New York a better future.
The best thing about New Yorkers is that they say whatever they want. They will tell you.
There's no way to run a goddamn railroad.
I've been in scenes before and I'm walking down the set and someone's walked past me like, "What's up, DD?" In the middle of a scene.
Ridley? Are you okay?
It kind of felt like it was showing me something. I get this feeling I don't think we're supposed to be here.
The Leopolds donated this entire nature preserve. And they care about a lot of things, not just pharmaceuticals.
Fine. I will sit there and smile.
Sorry, we're late.
What happened? You walked from the airport or what?
It's perfect timing.
I need you to act like everything is fine.
Is there something in your car?
A lot of species in this area are rare.
What exactly are we saying this is, though?
I think we know exactly what it is.
A horse-like mammalia.
With some sort of protrusion or growth.
It's a fucking unicorn.
I don't think I should be in swim shorts for this moment.
I don't think that we're supposed to have this.
We need to study it.
Whatever it is, it seems to be the cure for cancer.
Cancer? That's the biggest one.
An opportunity for greatness, for immortality. I've never been so alive.
Dad, please just listen to me. We need to give the little one back. Okay, bad things will happen.
There are two of them?
They're gonna kill us.
I'll do whatever I have to take care of you.
You'd retreat in the face of opportunity.
That horn was rather girthsome.
Picking up good vibration.
Here's hoping we kill Bigfoot on the way home, huh?
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person. What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Amen.
Amen.
Our hotel is the best in the world. At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
To Thailand. And a week of new memories.
This place is insane. We should always live like this.
I'm so happy. All my babies all together.
I hope you enjoy Thailand.
We usually go to the Caribbean.
I feel really lucky to be here.
I want to learn everything I can and bring the magic back to Maui.
It's a wellness center. You should get a facial. Rick, the lady in the airport thought you were my dad.
Oh my God.
Old friends.
Long-time friends, not old.
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means we're not dead yet. Amen.
Amen. Everyone comes to Thailand. They're either hiding from someone or they're looking for someone. I think the cosmos brought us together. I'm gonna help you bring your joy back.
Oh, hey, slow down, dick.
Why are rich men always so angry?
Everything okay?
It's just work stuff. What am I supposed to tell my family? We're poor now, and Daddy's going to prison.
There has been more crime on the island.
The whole freaked out. I think we need to call the police.
Your job is to protect the hotel.
พี่แค่ไม่อยากทำร้ายใครอะ
พี่ต้องเข้มแข็งกว่านี้ดิถึงจะทำงานนี้ได้อะ
Everyone tells me what a great man you are.
What if we lost everything?
Honestly, I don't know if I'd want to live. I just don't have it in me.
We're still the same people we were in the 10th grade.
You're always disappointed.
And you're always fake, and you're vain and selfish.
What if this life is just a test to see if we can become better people?
No. What?
Someone once said, the secret to life is knowing when to stop.
Go big or go home, right?
In a goddamn body bag.
Hey, I had the craziest dream last night.
It's still last night.
In the past few years, we've had some highs here at Mythic Quest. Like the wild success of our own Dana Bryant.
To you, girl genius, y'all.
Don't count your chickens before the slaughter.
That is not the same.
That's how I say it.
I do it biggie like Diddy. It's Dana this, Dana that. Everything's Dana, Dana, Dana.
Brady Bunch reference?
Yes.
Just take all the time in the world to, noodle.
We're gonna deliver on time, and he's gonna rue the day that he gave us the exact working conditions we've been asking for the last 15 to 20 years. Bobby's got a boyfriend.
Is that why she's been doing all this obnoxious double entendres?
Let's just get started.
I can grind all night.
Okay. I welcome the robots. How can I inspire you today? What difference does it make if the AI is ready? Just pull up the notes. I don't do notes.
Playpen users are making sex games. We can't have kids see these.
David, kids make these.
David Brittlesby?
Hi.
You've been served.
I have to appear in front of Congress.
What exactly is the good in profiting off of children? I do not recall.
I need to crank up the intensity.
Crank up, you say.
Hootie. Doesn't do anything half-assed. Whoa, what is happening?
I'm totally and completely naked, David.
I can see that. Why?
It's a toy monkey?
It's evil. It's basically the devil.
Now stop me if you've heard this before, but horror? It's a pretty good genre for exploring trauma. It's a truism that Longlegs writer-director Osgood Perkins elevates with equal measures of nuance and brute force in The Monkey, an explosive, delightfully gory adaptation of the Stephen King short story of the same name. As a film, The Monkey shares much in common with its dastardly namesake. It has a wonderful, creepy design that belies complex mechanics working many levels beneath the surface. Is it any wonder that this was produced by James Wan, a man who's introduced us to a number of creepy puppets and playthings? A premise as deceptively simple as if you wind up the monkey, someone brutally dies, leaves a lot of room for error, or for the gnarly kills to be the only thing that anyone remembers. But from that setup, Perkins builds a multifaceted roller coaster of a midnight movie that elicits as many laughs as shocks or gross out gags, and succeeds at both animating and skewering the power that death holds over us all.
It must be vanquished.
Why don't you vanquish it, huh, Bill? Wait.
One of the hallmarks of King's horror and why it's so rich and resonant for so many people is how he juxtaposes dark subject matter with wholesome iconography. The dynamic invites examination of how and how often darkness and light coexist in everyday life. Perkins has an uncommonly strong grasp on this blend, which acts as the monkey's North Star. Tone is a hard thing to nail down in any genre, but for horror comedies especially, failing to create and maintain a strong voice that serves both genres can be lethal. Perkins honors King's work by keeping the humor and the carnage shoulder to shoulder for the entirety of the monkey's ripping 98 minutes. It's a tightrope he walks from the very beginning. The opening scene quickly demonstrates the threat at hand by way of a straight-faced airline pilot played by one of Hollywood's most reliable straight men, Adam Scott. The prologue begins with genuine tension as the captain insists that the monkey's evil should be taken seriously. Soon enough, someone's been killed by Harpoon, and Scott is screaming into the night while doing fiery battle with the monkey, and my jaw was on the floor at that point. This sequence introduces the monkey's bizarre loose energy before the title even hits the screen, as the best opening scenes often do. When the monkey resurfaces in 1990s New England, the thin veil between life and death has become the driving force in the lives of the pilot's twin sons, Hal and Bill Shelburne. Hal is sensitive and quiet. Bill's a bully who really owns the fact that he's 2 minutes older than his brother. They're not exactly close, but both share a deep love for their vivacious mother Lois. Tatiana Maslany leaves a strong impression in the role. Lois's laid-back, frank outlook on life and death gives the boys a common framework for understanding the calamity brought about by the toy monkey they inherited from dear old dad. But it's not enough to keep them in each other's lives as they grow up and the torch of the dual role passes from Christian Convery to the gentleman's Theo James. The movie stumbles just a little through this transition. Neither Shelburne sibling is an especially deep character, with each serving more as a stand-in for different ways of relating to death, but James does provide Hal and Bill with real vulnerability that kept me invested in their quest to get that dang monkey to stop killing people. Hal's difficulty opening up to people and strained relationship with his son Petey shoulder the monkey's more gentle embrace of death and its costs, leaving the more anarchic and crunchy observations to Bill. Bill is by far the more showy of the two roles and the source of James's most entertaining scenes. Perkins supports the character's deadpan paranoia and arrested development with a Superman-inspired costume choice that is still making me laugh. It's an on-the-nose touch to remind both the character and the audience of just how damaging it can be to lose multiple loved ones to the whims of a cursed miniature percussionist. The monkey's centerpiece kills, heralded by calliope music that works like the Jaws theme, are frequent, goopy, and constantly entertaining. Perkins wisely doesn't bog the monkey down with much lore about the toy's origins or its bloodlust, instead letting its deeds speak for themselves. All this graphic mayhem gives the filmmaker ample opportunity to paint his sets with viscera and send body parts flying to all corners of the screen. But Perkins also demonstrates an excellent command of tone throughout these gruesome deaths, and they aren't all punchlines. While some of the kills are played squarely for laughs, a few are truly wrenching and effective reminders of the human stakes of the story. The deaths are usually so violent that they're over in a flash, which not only keeps the monkey humming along, but also reinforces its central notion that life is fragile. You never know when a hibachi knife is gonna fly through the air and end it all for you. Perkins keeps the fun going between these creative kills by populating the monkey with a bevy of colorful side characters who keep the movie's absurdist tone at the forefront. Ricky, the town burnout, a roving gang of girls who bully young Hal, a bafflingly stoner-coated priest, they all get standout moments. There's even a full cheerleading squad that celebrates a coroner taking a corpse out of a house. The kooks on the periphery of the Shelburne story all have unique voices that appropriately pose the question, what Stephen King book did you walk out of? It was Skeleton Crew, by the way. You'll recognize the little stinker on the cover.
Whoever controls it controls life and death.
The monkey marches to the beat of its own bloodstained drum, and it is an irresistible rhythm to groove to. Osgood Perkins and his cast balance the horror and comedy inherent in the movie's silly premise exceptionally well, and the surreal, absurd touches the Longlegs director adds to a world sketched out by Stephen King only help to set it apart from less imaginative, body count-obsessed movies. The evil influence of the titular cursed toy results in blockbuster showcases for fantastic gore effects that, when paired with the film's surprisingly gentle stance on the inevitability of death, affirm how potent horror comedy can be when executed with a strong perspective and a willingness to get weird.
Holy
Thank you for watching. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of Wolfman and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. For everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
Everything okay up there?
Yeah, everything's fine.
It's almost 10 years ago that we started this journey, and now I feel very blessed. We're starting it again.
It's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
We love the original Daredevil show, and it's been a real source of inspiration for Daredevil Born Again.
There is such a richness to the story that's already been told that we didn't want to run away from. We just wanted to expand on it.
If you step out of line, I am gonna be there. I feel like I was finally able to bring the guy that I invented for the original show back full on. It's hard to come to terms with the violent nature.
We brought back Phil Silvera, stunt coordinator for season 1 and 2.
Life choose gonna happen, you look up, and DD!
This isn't a lighter version. This isn't a friendlier version.
You know what Daredevil's capable of. You know what Fisk is capable of.
Together, it can only end in explosion.
Hey guys, I'm the one who tried to steal the dragon's treasure. And I got in trouble for it. Getting to the vault wasn't exactly a walk in the woods, though. It was friggin' scary at times. People started talking. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it got much worse.
My name is Jan, and I just want my life back. Yeah? Which one?
We are our choices. It may be a cliche, but it's true. Our choices define us. Where we go, what we do, who we meet, how we handle our problems, and why we are, ultimately, who we are. Imagine all the key decisions of your life laid out before you. How many would have to change to turn you into a different person? 2? 3? Or just one, in the right place, at the right time? What choice would that be for you? And who would you become if you'd chosen differently? Those are the questions at the core of The Alters, a narrative survival game from 11-Bit Studios, the team behind this war of mine. In The Alters, you take on the role of Jan Dolsky, a simple worker on a space mining mission gone horribly wrong. Stranded and alone on a strange planet after his ship crashes, Jan must figure out a way home, but he can't do it by himself. He'll need the help of Alters, alternative versions of himself, who made different choices in life and have the skills and expertise Jan needs. But Alters aren't just another body and set of skills. They're entirely different people with unique perspectives, hopes, dreams, traumas, and ambitions. To get home, Jan will not only need to get along with his Alters, but make some hard choices too, and come to terms with some of the choices he made in the past. To better understand the Alters and how this unique setup affects the many branching story paths you'll encounter as you play, we sat down with the Alters game director and lead designer, who were kind enough to answer some of our most burning story-related questions.
Jan, the main character of our game, he's got many regrets in his life, and he tends to ask himself this question, like, what if? What if I've made some different choices in the past? Where would I be right now?
Or was there ever another way?
So he's using this space mining mission that he's on as a chance to put his life on a different track. But unfortunately, the things went south, and he ended up all alone on this distant, desolate planet.
Dolsky here. Do you read me? Anyone?
where in order to survive and go back home, he needs to face even more tough choices, including the creation of the altars. When we were creating the life path of Jan and designing different decisions that shaped him into who he is in the game, we really wanted this to feel relatable. So we were gathering our own experiences internally in the team, asking ourselves, like, what is your what if question? What is the thing maybe you regret in your life? And they can come from different places. They can be career related or maybe relationship related. Things like, what if I didn't leave my hometown? Or what if I fought harder to save this relationship I had? Things like that.
So this is what the branching is about?
At the end, we really want for every player to find something relatable to them. At least one of the choices that Jan had in his past, I hope will be something the players can relate to.
In order to get along with the alters well, we'll have to understand the emotions that they have and what people they are become because of their life decisions. And the emotions are handled by a pretty sophisticated emotional system that is more complex than just, they are feeling good or bad and a single bar. And because of that, we can have emotions like frustration, rebellion, maybe amused by something, or maybe stressed by something, or saddened by something. And all those different emotions allows us to create different alter who acts differently in different situations, because then those emotions translate to the things they do.
Tell me what's going on. What have you done to my body?
They may rebel against the player, or may help the player somehow, or maybe boost the morale of the crew, or on the other hand, they may be so sad that they don't want to work anymore for the mission.
Oh no, thanks, man. I've had my share of surprises.
We are bringing new alters to the base in order to solve the problems that Jan, the main Jan, wouldn't be able to solve on his own. So, for example, we can bring the scientist Jan, who will be able to conduct research and create a technology that will allow us to move our base, run away from the sun, and he solves our problem. But at the same time, we are bringing a new person to the crew with entirely new personality. Jan scientist is very career-driven, ambitious alter. Soon he might start undermining our decisions as a leader. So while solving one problem, we are creating new ones. And in order to effectively manage our crew and find solutions for everything, we have to really understand who they are, what is their personality, what affects them, and successfully manage them.
Why don't you start with going through the mission logs? I need to get the full picture first. My thoughts exactly.
Also, there's a lot of things going on the emergent storytelling level, so if they are in a bad shape, they may start some narrative bits that will create a different gameplay experience. But let's not forget about the fact that the alters are in good shape and they are happy and highly motivated. They will, on the other hand, help the player. They will help him achieving his goals. It will be easier for them to fix their problems, but they can also help the other alters with fixing their problems and dealing with their past and decisions. Base management is very important for many aspects of the game. First, it influences the economy part, of course. This is pretty obvious, but also has to be maintained. If you don't maintain your base well, it will deteriorate. There will be accidents. Those accidents will create emergent stories and will influence the general alter storylines or the main story. Finally, the bigger the base is, the more Rapidium you can bring back home, and this is very important for Jan, for the people back on Earth. So this is another way you can influence like the narrative.
We want to spend time with our alters. We need to invest the time in our relationship, because only then we will be able to uncover their stories, understand them fully, and with this crew that we understand, that we know how to manage, we will be able to succeed in the mission.
Just don't push yourself. You don't need to prove anything.
Time is a very important resource in our game. Everything we do requires some time, whether it's excavating the resources or crafting stuff or conducting the research. All of the tasks require us some time, and that's why we need alters on board, because Jan, he won't be able to make everything on time. He's being chased by a giant rising star, so he's got this ticking clock behind his back. But at the same time, we don't want to rush things too much. From the very beginning, we wanted to tell the story of Jan in a classic manner, but also create a game that is more open-ended and allows players more freedom in creating their own stories. So the narrative structure in our game consists of different layers. On top, we have this more classic narrative structure, which is a branching story of Jan landing on the planet and finding his way home. And it is a branching story with multiple different endings, but underneath there is this second layer of the alter storylines. And it's up to the players what alters they create. It's not possible to have all the alters in a single playthrough, so when you replay the game, you will be able to create different alters and also within their storylines make different choices to shape their story in your own way. And underneath all of this, we have this giant layer of the emergent narrative that comes from the decisions you make, economical decisions, strategic decisions, the way you handle your base, the way you treat your alters. It all affects them and can result in some unexpected outcomes, different reactions, different events, different mini scenarios that can happen. In the end, we hope it all adds up to this, unique experience of each player having their own unique playthrough.
How did they get in it? What for?
And there's also the topic of emergent gameplay. This is also something that showed up in our games for the first time in This War of Mine. In the Alters, we do the same thing. We use a lot of emergent narration, but in this game we also connect this with more classic approach to the narration, where we have a single storyline that is branching, and we enforce this storyline with those emergent systems that make this story richer. There are a couple of mechanics in game that I am proud of, but they're not easily visible at the first glance. One of them would surely be the emotional mechanic that is pretty complicated. It consists of many different variables, and we don't show them as values or numbers, but more like adjectives that are floating around the alters, and that they have different size. And those variables, they connect into even more sophisticated emotions. And all of this makes it very hard for our more analytical brain to process, but it's quite easy if you try to use your empathy part of the brain to process that. So the idea behind making this so complicated is not only to create different personalities for the alters that are very nuanced, but also to make the player use this proper part of the brain when they're trying to cope with alters.
Doesn't feel that simple. Don't worry about it too much. No. I'll try.
The other thing would be the way we use the exploration. Of course, it is a tool to get gameplay loop. You are going to the exploration, looking for the resources, going back to base and facing the problems with the alters and so on and so forth. But it is quite important that we also wanted to use this exploration part to create a special environment for the player to actually think about all those decisions that the alters made, and ultimately maybe create a space for them to think about their own decisions.
We can't wait for the players to meet the alters, learn their different stories, and in the end, understand what made them who they are. And in the end, we just hope that everyone will find something, learn something about themselves through the alters.
We are who we choose to be. In the alters, Jan Dolsky's past is set. At least, your version of Jan is. But your alters are an ocean of untapped potential, and the future you can build with them is up to you. The alters looks like it's asking Jan and his alters the most important question of all. Who are you? And if 11-Bit Studios can deliver, the answer to that question is shaping up to be very, very interesting. Stay tuned all month long as our IGN first coverage of the alters continues. And for everything else in gaming, keep it here at IGN.
My name is Matthew Murdoch.
There's no further comment at this stage.
I'm a lawyer.
That's all for now. Thank you.
Exactly what kind of a lawyer are you? Really good one. Vigilantes are not heroes. Yeah. Daredevil, Born Again, only on Disney+.
So listen, today's gonna be hard. Let's all go home with the same amount of fingers that we came with. Let's get it. When my wife passed and I left the Royal Marines, a lot of people would have given up on me. You gave me a job. You were patient with me. You, Carla, Jenny, you're my family.
Excuse me, it's not your business.
I'm good, boss.
Levin, was that some military shit?
Hey, you didn't see anything.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
Jenny's missing.
She went out with her friends on Friday.
The police don't have the resources to work these cases. They take a report and forget about it.
Please, find our daughter.
Where's the girl?
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop.
So these guys are next level.
Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Let's play. This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking. Remember Gunny?
Your blind ward buddy that doesn't know he's blind?
That's the one. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I will be your weapon sommelier for this evening. This is the real beast here. M14. Pulled direct from Saddam's palace. Then I added a Bluetooth scope.
Where is she?
There's a special place, high rollers only. They can do anything as long as they pay.
Gangs, the mob, corrupt government officials, they're all involved in human trafficking. You're in the payroll too.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Food as much.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home.
That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife. That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you? What are you?
Wait, I can't. No, please, no!
Up the road, there's a place stuck in time.
What is that?
Stuck in time.
Every time we die, we find ourselves back here again.
Stuck in time.
But the night is never the same. We're here again.
Stuck in time.
But the night is never the same.
Every night, something new is trying to kill us.
We're here again.
Something new is trying to kill us.
What is that? What is that?
If we want to survive,
Oh my god.
we have to make it until dawn.
I want out.
Until dawn.
Please let me out.
We have to make it until dawn.
Please let me out.
Until dawn. We have to make it until dawn.
They're coming.
Up the road, that's where people get into trouble.
今なんて言ったヤクザ強盗出動だどうした手こずってるなあれは日本列島がゴッサムの上に
グリーンランタン逃がさないよ
死んでもらおうかいくつものもしもを重ね合わせて新しい世界ができるヤクザという暴力組織が統治するこの国は一大暗殺者国家だ
人教徒
弱きを助け強きをくじくそれが真の人教の道
なんだジャスティスリーグならぬヤクザリーグが再び世界の調和をもたらすというわけだ
お前さんは変わっちまったね
覚えておけ友が敵に回った時が一番恐ろしいということを次はお前だ
You want me? Come and get me!
Sam Wilson has had a hell of a decade. In the last 10 years, we've seen the veteran counselor marked as a fugitive, imprisoned on the raft, snapped out of existence, passed over as the new Captain America against Steve Rogers' wishes, and worst of all, bested by Ant-Man in single combat. That he's still willing to put it all on the line after all of that is what makes Sam such a compelling, solid hero. And what makes Captain America: Brave New World feel disappointingly afraid to venture out into the unknown by comparison.
That didn't work.
Watch this.
Brave New World has an incredibly difficult task right out of the gate, getting us up to speed on a franchise that now encompasses more than 40 movies and TV shows. The law of diminishing returns suggests that it's never been less likely that the average audience member will be able to recall, say, the events of 2008's The Incredible Hulk, let alone 2021's Eternals, at a moment's notice. A title like Brave New World suggests that maybe, just maybe, Anthony Mackie's first solo outing behind the shield could forge ahead into unexplored territory. But almost immediately, newscasts and archival video resurface largely unconnected MCU events with a previously on level of subtlety. You can almost see the Marvel brass crossing their fingers in the hopes that this recap is enough to substitute for the affection we may or may not have for movies that are 10 plus years old at this point. Building a news story out of mostly old parts is nothing new in Hollywood, and certainly not for Marvel Studios, but Brave New World feels especially craven in how it pecks around the events of the sacred timeline for structure. With its political thriller pitch, Brave New World nakedly evokes 2014's The Winter Soldier with a mess of ulterior motives, double agents, brainwashing, and of course, a secret military outpost with a villain's lair in the basement. Take that home, throw in a dead Celestial in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and a potato.
Baby, you got a stew going.
But like with Carl Weathers' recipe, you shouldn't be expecting anything too flavorful from those leftovers. With familiar drama driving Brave New World forward, and fewer comedic aspirations than your Guardians or your Deadpools and your Wolverines, the predictably conceived action is even more of a letdown. Sam knows his way around a pair of jet wings like nobody else, and we've seen that vibranium shield ricochet off of countless tactical helmets at this point. Most of Brave New World's action feels hesitant to push too far outside of that comfort zone, with no real sense of novelty in either concept or execution. Even Sam's only tech upgrade of note is taken directly from Black Panther's kit. Like many Marvel Studios directors before him, Julius Ona doesn't find much footing with the blockbuster material, and that's before we get to the film's frustratingly cloying, can't we all just get along political message, which begs us to remember to see the good in each other while doing relatively little to call out what the inverse actually looks like.
Which is why I want you, Captain America, to help me rebuild the Avengers.
The perspective and power that Brave New World scrounges up is more rooted in the actors' performances than anything on the page, a dynamic well represented by Mackie's performance as Sam Wilson. Befitting a Captain of America, Sam's true power is in his ability to bring out the best in others, and to counsel them when they're at their lowest. It's one of the things that sets Sam's approach apart from Steve Rogers. He's a people person, which isn't a bad place to start for a lowercase l leader. Mackie holds that passion for community at the center of everything that Sam does, and the strong foundation he's built up with the character over the years gives the rest of Brave New World's cast a great sparring partner.
Tell me I don't make your old gear look brand new. Who's saying that? Everybody.
Sam's taken young Air Force pilot Joaquin Torres under his wing as a fledgling Falcon, and his mentorship of the exuberant soldier does more to underline Sam's heroism than any missile he downs or bullet he deflects. Mackie and Torres have a great big brother little brother dynamic, and even though the new Falcon is mostly just here for a ride along, Danny Ramirez makes a charismatic first impression.
Nobody saw that.
Sam's weightier loyalties play out most significantly in how Brave New World deploys Isaiah Bradley, the forgotten Cap who reminds Sam gravely that his horrifying history could repeat itself if he puts too much trust in President Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross and his administration. In a relatively small amount of screen time, Carl Lumbly shines, imbuing Bradley with bravado that becomes heartbreaking vulnerability as he is again scapegoated by political forces, especially during a prison visitation in which he can't even look Sam in the eye.
You asked for me. Here I am.
Like in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Bradley proves to be a very strong character with which to ground the story's human stakes. But it's here that Brave New World trips over all the old material lying around. Going into Brave New World, you either watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or you didn't. If you did, Brave New World's handling of Bradley is functionally identical, and so may not land with as much gravity. If you didn't, the movie introduces him in a pretty glib way, making a joke out of his decades-long jail time seconds after he walks on screen. Neither story handles the character with the grace Lumbly approaches him, but both are much better for his being a part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Thaddeus Ross.
Lumbly's performance may be the movie's most powerful, but Harrison Ford's is Brave New World's biggest surprise, though maybe not for the big red reason you might expect. The majority of Thunderbolt Ross's time in the MCU, as played by the late William Hurt, has been spent on the fringes, but Ford brings his Indiana Jones Han Solo charisma to the newly minted politician with ease. And while yes, he does Hulk out eventually, Ford's far more interesting contribution is how fun it is to watch him try not to Hulk out. Whatever reputation the actor has acquired over the years for being grumpy, he takes it here and turns the dial way up. And the question of what's finally going to push him over the edge, and when, results in Brave New World's most reliable thrills.
Come and get me!
The other big surprise? This is no glorified cameo. Harrison Ford is all over this thing. Ross takes center stage in the film's opening moments, winning the presidency on a Unity platform powered in part by the ongoing geopolitical crisis caused by the emergence of the celestial Tiamat in international waters. That mammoth corpse is chock full of resources that the world's governments are licking their lips over. But after some of those resources are targeted by mercenaries, Ross seems intent on brokering a diplomatic solution. That's enough for Ross and Sam to put their tumultuous past aside in the name of progress. Mackie and Ford do well, maintaining a strong sense of tension just under the surface of Sam and Ross's interactions, a mingling of their crackling on-screen personas that Brave New World gets a lot of its best moments from, even and especially as the plot escalates into a series of skirmishes between opposing factions without much definition. Giancarlo Esposito's Sidewinder barely registers, which is no small feat when you're casting the man that played Gus Fring. President Ross's security advisor, Ruth Botsaroff, serves as a go-between between he and Cap, but outside of one brief fight sequence, which isn't all that impressive to begin with, Shira Haas is pushed largely into a functionary role here with very little to contribute. As for Tim Blake Nelson's Samuel Stearns, Bruce Banner's former ally hints at much stronger, more personal detours Brave New World could have made. But his relation to the conflict has an air of the tail wagging the dog, and his gamma-powered perception of probability doesn't ever bear enough fruit to pose a recognizable threat. That said, there is some infectious joy to be had as Nelson moves Stearns into more leader-like territory on the strength of his detached, steely monologuing and a pretty excellent prosthetic design. His bulging green noggin looks like what happens in Invader Zim when Zim gets hit in the head and one of his fake eyes pops out. It's good, and more villains should have gross green heads. Captain America Brave New World feels neither brave nor all that new. Recycling the Winter Soldier's political thriller structure and even specific plot points is no way to set Sam Wilson apart from Steve Rogers on the big screen, but the actors are here to save the day. Anthony Mackie's Cap may finally be the undisputed Star-Spangled Man with a plan, but that chip on his shoulder isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And Mackie brings each side of Sam's personality to life well against seasoned scene partners like Harrison Ford, Carl Lumley, and Tim Blake Nelson. It's just enough to get Captain America Brave New World a 5.
Need a minute?
That's what I thought.
Thanks for watching. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of The Monkey and Wolfman, and as always, keep it right here on IGN.
I was raised to believe in grace, that we can be transformed into a better person. But I was also raised to believe in retribution. Just one of those days, I guess. Daredevil, Born Again, only on Disney+.
Survivor has been calling me for a long time. I just wasn't listening. I can feel it.
When people see me, they assume that I'm going to be reading their tarot cards. But I've led $100 million projects for my company.
My parents would always say, you're gonna be the first one sent home. Like, they came up with the reasons as to why I would just be like the first boot. I'm too weak, I'm not friendly enough, like, I'm weird.
I feel like Jeff was talking to me when he said, come on, apply now. He was talking to me. I don't know if y'all thought he was talking to y'all, but he was talking to me.
I think this is my time to have confidence in myself that I can do this. I'm physically fit, I'm mentally fit. I'm always, whoa, is that a fly? Okay.
Go! Let's go! These 18 strangers have answered the call for the adventure of a lifetime.
I know how to play with people. That is my superpower. If Mozart's superpower was the piano, my superpower is people.
They must learn to adapt or they'll be voted out.
You wanna know why I have muscles? I drink so much chocolate milk. It has the perfect protein to carb ratio. That's all chocolate milk, all right? That's right there.
In the end, only one will remain to claim the $1 million prize.
I am on the autism spectrum, but I've always looked at my autism as a gift. Being a physicist, being an engineer, playing men's hockey, this does not scare me at all.
Stop! Medical!
This is a historic moment.
Being a single dad, I'm out here to walk away knowing that when my kids watch this, I want them to look at me and say, I'm proud of him. I like it.
Find the time.
I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature. Hating the power it has over us.
This city can't go unchecked.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. And chaos must reign.
Am I putting the hatchet down? I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised to believe in retribution.
Love the enthusiasm, yeah. Thank you. You know, in the past few years, we've had some highs and some lows here at Mythic Quest. Highs like the wild success of our newly integrated user-generated content platform, Playpen. I say play, you say pen. Play, pen, play,
pen.
Yes, that's how we do in Pasadena. Playpen turns the players into creators, giving them the tools they need to make their own innovative games. Games like Cozy Galaxy, brainchild of our own Dana Bryant. Dana Studios in the house. No. We've also had some lows, like COVID ending. When the pandemic lifted and life went back to normal, the video game industry took a hit, and we felt it here at home. Mythic Quest lost a lot of good people when we fired them. But we are bouncing back with the help of our head of monetization, Rachel Mee. She is gonna make this company more money than that virus ever did. Ain't that right, Rach?
No.
Now, even though Playpen is the shiny new toy in the MQ ecosystem, nothing hits like the classics. Our fearless leaders, Ein and Poppy, returned from Grim Pop and instantly reclaimed their throne. They also reclaimed my office. But I am beyond excited to hear their plan for our next expansion, so please, everyone, give your full attention to our brilliant co-creative directors, Ian Grimm and Poppy Lee! Guys. What the hell are they doing?
Hey, I had the craziest dream last night.
It's still last night.
Yes, I recognize that it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and per our new partnership agreement, that we have restricted the sharing of late-night dreams, visions, and epiphanies.
Also paradigm shifts.
Also paradigm shifts, which is exactly why I'm not crossing the threshold of your apartment unless you invite me in. Gotcha. Boundary respected. My paradigm shifting idea will just wait until you get in.
Okay.
Whenever you get in.
Great.
When will you be in?
Just bloody say it.
Okay. I have an idea for our next expansion. I want to build MQ's version of heaven. We can call it Elysium, but the only way that the player can access the new map is by dying valiantly in the game.
You want me to code courage into the game?
Yes.
That is a highly ambitious, almost delusional idea that may be impossible to execute.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, yes, I thought you would. I knew you would love it.
Cool.
Okay, but do you really like it? Because the foundation of our new and improved partnership is open and clear communication.
I clearly and openly communicate that I really, really like it.
Fantastic. So we should get to work on it then. Yeah.
Tomorrow at work.
Right, but technically tomorrow's today.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, tomorrow. Good night.
So that was him, huh?
Yeah. Emphasis on the was.
Lucky me.
Get back in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to Geek Media, a brand new podcast network from IGN Entertainment, where we celebrate games.
Time to begin our Game of the Year.
Tech.
Do the same results at 20 watts.
And entertainment.
Welcome to IGN Live!
We connect you with the stories, voices, and topics you love.
I love Soul Calibur. Banger fighting game series. I wish it would come back.
Geek Media is an ever-growing collection of some of the biggest and best scripted
You just kind of, and you cease to exist.
and unscripted podcasts in the world.
We were talking about a Spider-Man video game. It's not like, a 401k or anything.
And they're all told through a vibrant audio community that celebrates and empowers the geek in everyone.
Absolutely adored that game. I think it's one of the best platformers made.
We're building a global community of enthusiasts, igniting growth and creativity across every platform, and we invite you to join the conversation. And hey, when you're here, everything is better. That's why Geek Media is everywhere you are. We reach over 490 million people every month across 110 countries. And with over 83 million followers across every social media site, you won't have to go far to find us.
Hey, what's up, Super Ninfrendos? We got this locked down.
You can tune into any of our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. We can't wait to geek out with you. Geek Media. Behind every story is a geek.
The dawn of the final day of IGN Fan Fest 2025 is upon us. Coming up, Daredevil Born Again, Batman Ninja.
I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, there we go. Novocaine.
I am here to fight like my people are watching.
1,000 Blows.
Crank up the intensity.
Mythic Quest.
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
And the White Lotus. Fan Fest Day 5 starts right now.
Welcome to IGN Fan Fest. I'm Damon Hatfield.
And I'm Kim Horcher. This is the last day of Fan Fest, and what a week it's been. We've gotten to see stuff like Monster Hunter Wilds, WWE 2K25, and The Walking Dead, Dead City. Plus, we even got to talk to legends like Stephen King and George R.R. Martin.
What a week indeed, but we're not done yet because today is all about the movies and TV shows we can't wait for in 2025. We'll be getting special looks at Matt Murdock's return in Daredevil Born Again, the latest seasons of Mythic Quest and the White Lotus, plus so much more.
But first, we're kicking things off with more Robert Pattinsons than we know what to do with. Mickey 17 is a sci-fi movie from Parasite director Bong Joon-ho, which follows Robert Pattinson's Mickey as he's cloned again and again to work on a dangerous space colony. Wait, why does this premise feel so familiar?
Oh, because we've been doing the same thing to you for years. Technically, your name is Kim42.
My God.
You'll get used to it. Here to introduce an exclusive clip from Mickey 17 is director Bong Joon-ho.
IGN Fan Fest 축하드립니다. 저는 제 이름은 봉준호, 미키 17의 작가이자 감독입니다. 미키 17 영화 재밌게 즐겨주시기 바랍니다. Thank you.
That's it. Mickey, deep breaths, fill your lungs. Imagine there's an unknown virus in the air.
And you're sucking in every single microscopic particle floating around.
All the viruses.
Fill every alveoli. So good?
Oh, so good. Brilliant.
There really was an unknown virus in the air. Lethal one?
Dorothy! Dorothy!
Oh, man. He's alive.
So fucking what?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Julie McMahon from the film The Surfer, which some have described as a paranoid tale of hysteria and craziness. And, it is. I had a fun time mentally torturing Nicolas Cage's character, whose only desire was to surf with his son. The film is directed by Lorcan Finnegan. Here's a sneak peek.
Dad. What? Yeah. We gotta get out there, though. It's the best place to show you my big surprise.
Oi! Locals only!
Look, it's quiet out there. We'll respect the line. We won't drop in. Kid's a fantastic surfer. Just wait till you see him.
Don't live here. Don't surf here.
I grew up here.
Don't live here. Don't surf here.
Hey, Dad.
It's okay. You're scaring my boy. Get out of my personal space.
Don't live here. Don't surf here.
Now. No need for all this fuss. You all right, son? Good lad. Look, can I get a word?
Taking my son for a surf.
Yeah, I get that. Just come back up here with me for a minute. You hang tough, mate. I'm just gonna grab a quick chat with the old man. You can't surf here.
It's a public beach.
Yeah, but nah. Listen to me, brother. Fellas out there have been partying started Christmas week, and it was now pretty heavy last night. You know how it goes. Look, I'm trying to do you a solid here. You paddle out into their break with your boy. I don't know what might happen. I mean, Mr. Pitbull there, he's the type to make you watch while they knock the teeth out of the kid's head. Look, I know it's smart to lose face in front of your boy, but you gotta know when to back down, or it could get a whole lot worse. Plenty of family beaches for you to enjoy your afternoon. So get out of here. Forget this place.
Up next, Novocaine is an action comedy from Paramount, starring the boys Jack Quaid as Nate, a guy who cannot feel pain, fighting to save the woman he loves from kidnappers. We've got the stars of the movie here to tell us more, but first, let's check out an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Novocaine. Hey, be warned, the stuff that happens to Nate's body is not for the faint of heart.
I love that it's an action movie. Got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, there we go.
I love that it's a comedy.
Hands up! Oh, sorry. It's fine.
I love that it's a romance. It blends all these genres in a really cool, unique way that I've never really seen before.
So those are definitely third degree.
That was an exclusive look at Novocaine, an action comedy with a twist you're gonna need to see to believe, because you're definitely not gonna be able to feel it. Here to tell us more about the movie are the stars Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder, and Jacob Batalon. Thank you guys so much for joining me today to talk about Novocaine. Very nice to see you. It's an action comedy that has a pretty unique premise. Could you tell us a little bit about Nathan Kane's condition and how that affects the movie?
Yeah, no, so Nate is a person with a very rare genetic disorder where he can't feel any pain. And you would think that might be kind of a blessing, like, oh, it'd be great to not feel pain. But actually, it's quite debilitating for him. He kind of has to live his life inside of a bubble, you know, like all the corners on his tables at home have this like that baby-proofing foam on them. He has to consume most of his meals through like a shake because he could accidentally bite his tongue off and not know. It kind of keeps him at a distance with the world. But then he at his job, he works at a bank. He falls in love with Sherry, who's played by Amber. And one day the bank gets robbed, she gets kidnapped, and Nate has to risk everything to save her, and he kind of turns his disability into a superpower to do it.
It leads to a lot of really, really gruesome injuries on Nathan's part throughout the movie. I saw it a few days ago. It's a ton of fun, and I'm somebody that's a big fan of horror. I have a pretty strong stomach, and there are multiple moments in this movie that absolutely made me sick. Do you guys have a favorite injury that Nathan sustains in the movie, or maybe one that especially made you a little sick to your stomachs?
I think I think I have a lot of fun watching The House.
Yeah.
The house sequence. That one to me is just like, there's something about the way that you navigate that one. And they're like, I think it's very funny to me. Like the kitchen one to me is very impressive and it's like exciting. The house to me is so funny. And then the way that you guys like the way that your characters handle that, I think like as an audience member was the most fun for me.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I loved working with you.
No, for sure. That was great.
That was great. Yeah, I think at that point, Nate's just kind of mad. Like he's not like the injuries are not quite shocking to him anymore. He's just like a little bit upset and a little pissed that it's going this way. And I think,
I think definitely the glass in your hands, the faux Wolverine was solid.
Oh, yeah. For me, I think the thing that really got me, and like it's all, you know, when I was shooting it, all of it's like on my body, and we have an amazing prosthetics team that did such a good job making it seem real. But so I didn't really get squeamish at a ton of them, but the one that really got me was at one point someone pulls my fingernails off, and that just really, and I'm seeing it, I know it's fake, but I'm like, oh wow, no.
That actually makes me feel sick right now.
It's like inside there too, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'm hearing that.
I'm so sorry.
It's pretty rough.
Oh, sorry. It's fine.
Jack, obviously, this character cannot feel pain. You can. Were there any times where you blew a take because maybe you took a punch or a hit in a way that you actually reacted to in a way you shouldn't have?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was really hard for me to, like the biggest challenge, I think, in the fight scenes, and we have an amazing fight choreography team that really, we rehearsed these things a ton, but the biggest challenge for me was not showing pain. It's a natural human response. You know, I feel like on other stuff I've done, if I ever have a stunt sequence, you know, you want to show that, like, you want to wince, you know, that's like what a person does. And just kind of unmarrying that very natural reaction from the things that were happening to me, and trying to find kind of a fighting style for him, because if I get punched in the face, I'm not going to wince, but my head still has to move with that. And Nate, it's a lot of like confirming with his own eyes that things are actually still intact. Like if he gets punched in the arm, or he thinks he gets punched in the arm, he has to like look it over to make sure everything's okay. So yeah, that was the biggest challenge. And now I'm kind of ruined for other projects that I do. I noticed that I'll take hits on other things and like not react, and people are going to be like, no, you need to like react to that punch. I'm like, oh yeah, right, cool.
No, stop it.
What's the most painful on-set injury that you've had? Like, does anything come to mind?
I will say one time I came to set with an injury right before I had a big stunt sequence.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was in the gym and I had I was very into CrossFit at the time, and I was doing this thing called toes to bar, and with my feet fully up in the air, I fell off of the bar, and so I fell just like on my back, and I immediately couldn't walk, and I had like I had like an action sequence like the next week, and I came to work on crutches. I didn't know at the time. I was so young. I like didn't tell anyone. I just showed up on crutches.
What happened? How did you?
Sheer panic. Everyone was panicked immediately.
Did
it got done.
Forced yourself to do it? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that was not like an on-set injury, but close.
I got a rash from the wires. And I got a rash from like the wires, you know, when you put on the harness.
Oh yeah.
I got a really crazy rash on my undercarriage.
I was gonna say where?
My undercarriage, and I remember it fondly.
Way to push through.
That's good. That's good.
For me, I remember mine was similar to Amber's, where it happened right before my very first day shooting on The Hunger Games. I'm 19. It's my first movie. They're having us work out all the time. It's my first time working out without a trainer. And, I had this amazing guy kind of bringing me through all these exercises. And one of the exercises was I would have a medicine ball. I would like slam it onto the ground, pick it up, and slam it again. And I remember it was like day before I was starting to shoot my first big movie. I'm in the gym for the first time by myself, no trainer. See the medicine ball.
This is going.
I take the medicine ball, I slam it. It bounces up, hits me right in the face, and my nose starts. I fall down, my nose starts bleeding. My nose has never looked the same. It looked a different way before this incident.
You must have slammed it so hard.
It was like the ones in New York when I was with the trainer, they didn't bounce.
They're like heavy weighted medicine balls. They're not supposed to bounce, right?
Yeah, no, come on. Why are you bouncing? Because you're getting low.
You just got so strong.
I know, and if you look, if you really look deep in the background of this shot in The Hunger Games, my nose is like a bullet.
Oh
it's just so swollen. Yeah.
Wow.
Great first day. It's so good.
Did you tell people beforehand, or you just showed up?
It was obvious.
A lot of times these days, we see action movies that have these massive, huge, world-ending stakes, but Novocaine is a lot more condensed and character-based. What was nice about playing an action movie from that perspective rather than something that has these sort of like universally, scary stakes?
I love that you said that, because I think that was kind of the goal with this movie for a while. We wanted to tell a character-based action story because those, to me, are my favorites. Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, those kind of late 80s to early 90s action movies where, it's not about the fate of the universe. It's really about, is John McClane going to get his wife back and save everyone who works at that office? Like, I love the smaller stakes, and it's still high stakes, but they're personal stakes, and hopefully people invest in the relationship between Nate and Sherry. And I love that, just speaking on my character personally, I just think he's such a sweetheart. He's like the biggest sweetie I've ever played, which I love. And I love that he, this is a journey of him like stepping out into the world for the first time. He doesn't really have any like real world experience, and it's this insane of a film. So I love that it's so down to earth and character based.
I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, there we go.
Oh my God. You're a superhero.
Who are your favorite action heroes of all time?
I will say something that was very cool about this movie was the gym that we trained at in South Africa. They had trained the women from The Woman King.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I'm such a big Viola Davis fan. I loved The Woman King. And so, coming in to that environment when it's like we hadn't met this team before and it was like a brand new, none of us had been to Cape Town. They have this room in the gym where everyone signs the wall. And so we got to like go in and see the signatures of all the women who had trained for The Woman King. And that was so cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. Let me tell you who my favorite action hero of all time is. Amber. You are so good at Trey. You are such a badass.
Stop.
And I remember knowing that you were going to play Sherry, I was like, oh man, I got to work really hard. Be as badass as you. It's insane.
Oh, right though.
But
That's very sweet.
Like, hell yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, you can say your real answer now.
No, that was it.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, those are all solid choices. I genuinely like. Let's say the Pink Power Ranger. from
also
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She's really great.
Amy Jo Johnson, goated. Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Guys, that is all the time I have with you, unfortunately. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Novocaine hits theaters March 14th. There is plenty more Fan Fest to come. Do not go anywhere.
It's about to get really f***ed up. I have like a little coffee burn, a little bruise. This is just the beginning, but I'm gonna get really, really messed up. This is nothing compared to what winds up happening to me.
Hey man, you okay?
FanFest is presented by Mega Break. Open beta available now on PC and Xbox with crossplay.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today. IGN Store has it all. From clothes and collectibles to vinyl records, accessories, model kits, and action figures from the biggest and best franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Star Wars, Fallout, Dungeons & Dragons, and more. Whatever your pop culture passion, you're guaranteed to find something you love. There are new and exciting products hitting the store every week, like the Wasteland-ready Fallout Vault 33 hoodie, which pairs perfectly with the working wearable Pip-Boy. Plus, high-quality IGN Store exclusives like the powerful and spicy Star Wars Darkside Hot Sauce by Truff. We've even got merchandise for you to rock while tuning in to the IGN shows and podcasts you love. Or cap off a long day by relaxing to the soundtracks of your favorite video games, like Cyberpunk and The Last of Us. And the best part? You don't even need to leave the house to go there. Just head to store.ign.com and start shopping today. The IGN Store. You deserve it.
Welcome back to FanFest. Before the break, you got a look behind the scenes of Novocaine, and the hits just keep on coming. Coming up, we've got some brand new clips from 1,000 Blows, the British period drama series coming to Hulu. We've also got a look at Amazon's A Working Man, starring Jason Statham as a man working on delivering justice. And assuming you have Amazon Prime, you can expect it in 2 days or less.
Afternoon, Mum.
On display.
Now we'll say that, thank you.
Right, down there. I'll take this, you take it.
Pardon me, ladies. Constabulary exactly 2 minutes to get here. And remember, I want yellow and blue silk and gold brocade. Dorothy, get down the other end. I'll be taking that. We've got the fabric. Time's up, ladies.
Milady?
Oh, come on, let's go back. Make sure we've got the bag.
Ladies, come on, now.
worth getting your throat cut for, darling.
Fuck you, Bobby Day. I want to be an elephant.
Where you from then?
Covent Garden. Shit, I'm on the rotten apples.
You a cop?
Nah. You?
Run your pockets, Chief. Let's check for that badge.
You heard the man. Put it on the table. Now.
I didn't come here to be disrespected. All right. Let's play.
Get him.
Enough!
My grandpa told me to never shake hands sitting. Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
Soon we'll see what's going on in the world of esports, courtesy of the Army National Guard. But first, it'll be a real shame if you do something to incur the wrath of Jason Statham, because that means you'll probably be in a body cast and unable to head out to Universal Studios for Fan Fest nights.
IGN's own Akeem Lewanson has been staying on Jason's good side lately, so he was able to go to Universal Hollywood for a preview of what fans can expect this spring. Take a look.
I can't tell you how exciting it is to be here talking about Fan Fest nights, because you're right, we've been working on this event for the last handful of years.
All right, guys, listen to the blues riff and B. Watch me for the changes and try and keep up, okay?
Universal Studios Hollywood is cooking up a new experience for theme park enthusiasts called Fan Fest Nights. And here to tell us all about it is Senior Director of Entertainment at Universal Studios Hollywood, Steven Sirks. So, Steven, first off, I want to welcome you to IGN Fan Fest. Obviously, no relation to Universal Studios Hollywood's Fan Fest Nights. I really want to talk about what Fan Fest Nights is, just like the baseline definition. I believe someone once called it if San Diego Comic-Con gave birth to a baby with Halloween Horror Nights?
Exactly.
Fan Fest Nights?
Well, firstly, thanks so much for having me here to talk about Fan Fest Nights. We're really excited to be bringing the fandoms of sci-fi, gaming, anime, and fantasy all to Universal Studios Hollywood this spring for Fan Fest Nights. And that's really what it is bringing all those fandoms, all those genres to life, just like we do with Halloween Horror Nights, with the ability to continue that storied legacy of dropping our guests into these environments, letting them to explore it, but then elevating it from these ability to further tell the stories of each of these different brands.
I'm kind of curious to know what made you all, what sparked the idea to bring in these other properties for fans to enjoy in the evening time? Was it birthed from just like, look at what we're doing with Halloween Horror Nights, let's see if we can adapt this to some of our other properties? Like, what birthed the idea?
That's exactly it. So we wanted to build from the legacy that has been built around Halloween Horror Nights for the last several decades and be able to bring that to these other fandoms, these other genres. Our fans were asking for more, and we certainly wanted to be able to deliver more in terms of these immersive in-world experiences, but also the celebrations that go around them as well. And that's what really brought FanFest Nights to the forefront. And I can't tell you how exciting it is to be here talking about FanFest Nights, because you're right, we've been working on this event for the last handful of years. And so being at the point where we're getting ready to be able to debut it for our guests and for the fans out there is really exciting.
Yeah, and you got quite the impressive brands, IPs associated with it. You got Star Trek, Back to the Future, Dungeons and Dragons, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Harry Potter, and Super Nintendo. So now, that's a lot. That's a lot of offerings that you all have. So I kind of want to just if you can walk us through what we can expect from each one of those properties. Let's start with Star Trek.
Sure, yeah. So Star Trek Red Alert. So that one we are calling a story-based walkthrough attraction. So what the intent is there is that you are being invited to board the Enterprise D and be able to take an exclusive tour of the ship. But in typical fashion, something goes horribly wrong and you're immediately thrust into the action. And along your journey through the Enterprise D, you get to visit iconic environments like the sick bay, the engineering room, turbo lifts, and ultimately resulting on a tour and a trip to the bridge of the Enterprise D. And not only is it just any bridge of the Enterprise D, it's a screen-used version that was first built for the Paramount Plus series Picard that through a great partnership with Paramount, we're able to bring to FanFest Nights and allow our guests to be able to explore something that is truly authentic.
See, and that's one of the things that I love about what you all do is you manage to you have access to these items that you can bring into the theme park for a fast action experience. So I'm pretty sure with the Back to the Future experience, there's going to be an actual DeLorean there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And talk about something that is so uniquely universal, being able to bring our guests to Courthouse Square. So being able to get off the tram tour and experience the sets where it actually happened 40 years ago for the original filming of Back to the Future. And we're bringing it back to life. So through light set dressing and characters and photo opportunities, and yes, the time machine will be there too. We're really bringing the space back to life in a unique and exciting way.
What about Enchantment of the Sea?
We couldn't do Back to the Future without doing a recreation of the Enchantment Under the Sea prom.
Yeah.
So we're assuming as though the prom spilled out into Courthouse Square.
Okay.
So we'll have the full scenic, we'll have a band on stage, and yes, Marty will actually get up on stage every once in a while and rock out on guitar for our guests.
Are we going to see anyone go Back to the Future in the time machine? Is that going to... Are we going to see that be recreated?
So we're doing an environmental recreation of the epic finale. So everything from the lightning strike all the way to when the time machine goes back to the future for the last time will be celebrated several times throughout the night down at Courthouse Square.
So should I dress the part though? Should I find my grandparents old...
Everyone's got it, right? Yeah.
Suits and whatnot.
Yeah. So cosplay is a huge part of FanFest Nights, and we really are encouraging our guests to come dressed up and to be able to celebrate alongside each other. We know that those who have affinity for these genres have such a strong community around them, so we're also creating space for us to celebrate the fans throughout FanFest Nights too. So we've got a block party festival that's going to be taking residence up at our Universal Plaza, where we'll have cosplay celebrations, trivia contests, fan meetups, really giving a space for the fans to celebrate.
Yeah, now let's talk about some fantasy. I want to know about Dungeons and Dragons. What can you tell us about that one?
Dungeons and Dragons: Secrets of Waterdeep. This one's exciting. Similar to Star Trek, it's a story-based pulsed attraction. So we're bringing you through this experience in groups of people. And along the way, you are on a traditional quest. So for a casual D&D fan, something has been stolen, we're there to help find it. For those who are a bit deeper into the Dungeons and Dragons lore, you're going to find iconic characters, environments, and some of the setups that really make you appreciate the experience that much more. We're members of the Waterdeep clan, and Xanathar the Beholder, one of the big bads of D&D, has stolen a dragon staff. And we're being recruited to help find it. And along the way, we encounter dragons, we've got to solve a puzzle. Ultimately, you get face-to-face with Xanathar the Beholder. And that's a special one because we actually partner with Jim Henson's Creature Shop to build this 12-foot sized puppeted character that our guests are going to be able to meet and ultimately resolve the conflict, steal that dragon staff back, and return the town of Waterdeep back to normal.
Now, for our anime fans, y'all got One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, two massively popular anime properties. I want you to tell us what we can expect from those, but I'm also curious though, what made you all choose these particular anime?
So for One Piece, we're developing a fan zone concept, where Halloween Horror Nights has scare zones, FanFest Nights has a fan zone. So it's going to be taking over a street, and there'll be character meet and greets, scenic photo opportunities, all for our guests to enjoy throughout the night. And Jujutsu Kaisen is taking residence in our DreamWorks theater space, where we're able to bring some content from Cool Japan, from Universal Studios Japan, and debut it here in Hollywood for FanFest Nights. And it's going to be a multi-sensory, media-based experience for our guests based on lore and story of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Ooh, it's going to be exciting. Now, let's talk about two property that is already has a presence at Universal Studios Hollywood. Harry Potter and Super Nintendo. Let's start with Harry Potter. What I guess new can we anticipate from the Harry Potter franchise?
Well, you nailed it on the head. So what we want to do with Wizarding World of Harry Potter is that as soon as you cross through the town gate of Hogsmeade, something is new, something is different, something is unique. So we're bringing two new experiences for FanFest Nights. The first one is the debut of Hogwarts Always, which is the latest projection mapping experience on Hogwarts Castle that debuted at Universal Orlando last year. We're bringing to Universal Studios Hollywood for FanFest Nights. And then the second one is taking a experience that was developed first for Universal Studios Japan, the magical creatures, and bringing them to here to Hollywood as well. So guests will be able to meet their favorite magical creatures, the Niffler, the baby dragon, and then we're also debuting a brand new magical creature, the Akme, which is developed exclusively for Universal Studios Hollywood.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing. The Niffler is really, I don't know, that excites me a lot. Okay, Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
All right. Of course, we're IGN, so we gotta talk about gaming. What can we anticipate from Super Nintendo?
Yeah, gaming's a big part of FanFest Nights, and of course, Super Nintendo World is something that we've been able to debut and have our guests experience on a day-to-day basis. So similar to Wizarding World of Harry Potter, we want something new, something unique, something exclusive as soon as you walk through the warp pipe. So we're very excited, and he's referenced here too, to debut Yoshi as a brand new meet and greet character for our guests at FanFest Nights. And to help introduce and celebrate Yoshi, we're creating a few different activations throughout the night. First and foremost, the ability to meet Yoshi, of course, but also a fun scavenger hunt activity. So finding ways to further engage and interact with the land. So guests will be invited to find 5 hidden eggs that have been hidden throughout the land. And once you find all 5 eggs, you get exclusive access to also a multicolored Yoshi meet and greet. So being able to meet not only the traditional green Yoshi, but also other fan favorite character as well. And then throughout the night, guests can look forward to some drone moments they'll be taking to the skies above Super Nintendo World as well.
So how close should we get to Yoshi? Because you know what happens if you get too close. I don't want to get eaten and turned into an egg.
Oh, I know.
Will that happen?
No, he's
Can
lovable,
that happen?
he's playful, he's a fan favorite. We're looking forward
right.
to our guests being able to meet him.
And exclusive merch. You can see it here. Can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, for sure.
The items that we have here.
We've got some great offerings here from an assortment of our different brands. So here we've got some merch around, of course, our lovable Yoshi character. And then also some Jujutsu Kaisen merch there as well. And then Back to the Future, of course, everyone's favorite Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And this is just a small sampling.
I believe it is the 40th anniversary, right, for Back to the Future?
Yeah, so Back to the Future is celebrating an iconic anniversary, 40 years since the first movie came out. So what better time, what better place, what better moment than to celebrate Back to the Future with Destination Hill Valley experience at Courthouse Square. When
I attended the press day, some people thought that, what day is Star Trek? What day is I'm like, no, I think you can enjoy each and every one the same night, throughout every single night, right?
It's a really important point, is that all of our guests, all the fans will be able to experience everything we talked about each and every single night. So all of the different genres, all of the different brands, all of the different fandoms will be celebrated each and every night of FanFest Nights.
Yes, and what are the dates one more time?
FanFest Nights opens April 25th and runs for 12 nights through middle of May.
Yes, and you got your anime, you got your sci-fi, you got your fantasy, you got your video games, you got everything to expect. Stephen, thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about FanFest Nights right here on IGN's Fan Fest. No relation. Please don't sue us.
FanFest meets FanFest Nights. We love it, and we look forward to seeing you at Universal Studios Hollywood this spring.
Thank you once again. Now, with that, we'll see you in the future at Universal's Fan Fest Nights here in Hollywood. Stick around for plenty more IGN Fan Fest right here.
On the edge of our galaxy is a conflict where only one thing matters.
Let's get to work.
This isn't our war, but it is our fight. And we're just getting started.
What's up, everyone? I'm Alan Wheeler, and welcome to a very special Let's Play of War Robots Frontiers. War Robots Frontiers is a free-to-play multiplayer mech shooter that lets you squad up with your friends, customize your mech, and launches you into deep tactical combat that rewards methodical play. Today, we're celebrating the full 1.0 release, which comes out March 4th by going head-to-head in a 6v6 battle to give these mechs a spin. All right, let's jump into the game. Presented by War Robots Frontiers. War Robots Frontiers features a robust mech customization system, and creating your own personalized robot is a huge part of the game. You can unlock a bunch of different parts from playing, you can attach them to your mech, and upgrade each individually. And what's cool is nearly every part of the mech has a ton of different options to choose from. You can pick what speed, firepower, and capabilities you're trying to bring to your team's comp. You can change the torso, shoulders, chassis, pilot, weapons, and even abilities to match whatever look or combat style you're going for. There are so many different combinations you can choose from, so definitely play around with it and see what fits your playstyle best. And if you want even more ways to customize your mech, click the link in the description to claim the Bloodstone Wrap skin by entering the code FanFest2025. All right, here we go. We are jumping into the game, warping in. I love that animation, it's so much fun. Today I'm playing the Warp Rush game mode. In Warp Rush, each team is fighting over control of several warp gates that are scattered throughout the map. The more warp gates you hold, the faster your progress meter fills up, resulting in a win. However, in Warp Rush, each player has access to one of 5 mechs that you can customize in advance. And if you run out of mechs, you're out of the game. So we need to play strategically or brute force our way to the win. All right, let's jump into the match. Now, one thing that you should know about War Robots Frontiers is that these robots, like, while some of them are a little bit more nimble and kind of allow you to make quicker movements, like when you use your dash, it takes a second for you to catch up. You'll see there's like a little bit of recoil right there. There's a lot of cover, but you can easily overshoot it if you, just boost at the wrong moment, or you're not sure exactly where you're gonna stop. So definitely something to keep in mind. There's a lot of things to learn for each of these maps, so definitely you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. Oh, incoming missile! Ah! That hit me, dang. Okay, so right now I'm using the Harpy, which is a tactician class that does big damage just like that, baby. That was big. Okay, so first kill of the game already on the board. We have 2 warp gates. Let me try to see if we can get D over here. All right, let's control this zone. I like that I'm using a sniper class and I'm just like right up in this guy's face. Boom, second kill of the game. You gotta keep them on their toes, you can't let them know your next move. They're holding 4 gates now. Okay, yeah, definitely need. I would say if you're trying to go for more of a aggressive build, kind of get up in people's faces, I like using the Phantom for that one so far. It's been my favorite, sort of like, hey, just run in, kind of do big damage. Doesn't matter if you kind of like go down a little bit earlier. That's 3 kills right there. Give me another one. Let me see another one. Can we see 4 kills? You know what? Let's upgrade. We're going Titan mode right now. As you play during a match, you'll see your Titan mech meter fill up. This is the most powerful mech in your reserve. Once it's at 100% like I am now, I can head over to a warp gate my team controls and summon my Titan. The Titan just feels so weighty. I love it. Like, this definitely feels like you're not just kind of like run and gun. You're very much like, hey, you have to think about the strategy when you're going in. What is, I say it doesn't feel run and gun when I immediately just jump directly into someone's face. But yeah, no, it's definitely a little bit more tactical, I would say, than just like being like, oh, hey, see enemy, shoot enemy. Although that is absolutely how you can play it. But you definitely want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on the objectives, which for this one is capturing these warp nodes, because they're
how you can fill your gauge up there in the top middle of the screen. This is a closer game than I was expecting given how it started. Now you will see a couple of different elements here. Oh, getting shot by a turret right here. Let's destroy that. Okay, I'm taking a lot of damage. So you'll see at the bottom left, you'll see sort of like gauges for each of the individual components of your mech. All of those take individual damage. So, you know, if you are taking a lot of damage, like, you know, in the middle section, like I have right now, you probably want to sort of like put your more like the shoulders or the letting them free hit you in the middle. All right, let's do a big laser right here. That's gonna do big damage right there. That's another kill. That's 4. Do we see 5? That is 5. Oh my lord, that's so much damage. And I died. Hey, 5 kills, not bad. I will absolutely take it. And you know what? Because I didn't actually die with it, I can just go right back to the Harpy. I'm actually not gonna do that. I'm gonna go to the Typhon right here because this will let me do more electrical damage, which is really good for dealing with shields especially. I can also do this guy, do even more damage. Let's get out of that blast radius. Oh, we are layering damage right now. We are looking real good. Let's take over A, boys. Now again, because it is more tactically centered for this game, you definitely want to make sure that you're communicating with your team, making sure that you are all on the same page. If you're gonna do a coordinated attack, like we're about to do on D right here, let's get this guy. Scorpino. Taking you down right here. Let's hit that Q, drop the turret.
Allies are close to victory.
So close to victory, come on. Just trying to keep doing damage right here. We got that kill right there? Okay. Hey, still pretty good. Looks like most of my team's on this side, so I'm gonna jump in right here. Now I believe there is a Titan right here. I'm just going straight with the flamethrower. This is a allied laser right here, so I'm not taking damage. I am, however, taking damage from this guy, and he is a Titan, so he does a lot of damage. I'm gonna sit down a little minefield right here to make sure that they can't fully get this point. Even if I die, I still delayed them enough, I think. Oh, I got out just in time. And now I'm gonna do the same thing. As soon as this guy starts firing, I'm gonna hit that. We go back, we're out of danger's way. Easy peasy. Oh, there's another guy right here, never mind. Not out of danger's way. But we can support my buddy Austin right here, taking this guy down. Come on, baby. Yes, 2 kills. And I got my my challenge there. Make 20 assists or kills. Victory. That's what we love to see, coming out on top time and time again. Whew. And there you have it. That's the end of our Let's Play for War Robots Frontiers. This barely scratched the surface of everything there is in the game, and I can't wait to play some more when 1.0 launches on March 4th on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC. Thank you all so much for joining me, and for everything else on War Robots Frontiers, keep it locked to IGN.
FanFest is presented by War Robots Frontiers. Pre-register now for an exclusive reward.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow. Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
I feel confident if you like Survivor, you will like this game and you will feel like you were playing it minus the bugs.
What's up, IGN? Michael here. After 25 years at the heart of pop culture, one show has outwitted, outplayed, and outlasted them all. Yes, we're talking Survivor. And here to break down everything we know so far about the upcoming 50th, yes, 50th season, and to talk a little bit about his new game as well, is the host and executive producer of the show, Jeff Probst. Jeff, welcome to IGN Fan Fest.
Good to be here, Michael.
Here at IGN, we're huge fans of games of all stripes, and you, Jeff Probst, have recently designed and released a brand new game. You teamed up with the team behind the best-selling games Exploding Kittens. Your game is called The Tribe Has Spoken card game.
Yep.
Tell me about this and how it ties into Survivor.
Well, I started working on a Survivor card game about 2 years ago, trying to figure out, could you approximate Survivor without having to leave your living room? And I teamed up with the team at Exploding Kittens, who are the best game designers I know. And I'm really happy and proud to say I think we did it. I think Survivor fans are loving this game. I know they're loving it. I'm reading the feedback. I'm hearing about it. It really is Survivor. You work for advantages. You might have an idol. You can get extra votes. You're conspiring against each other. The design of the box is key, and that was done by Ian, one of the guys at Exploding Kittens, when he realized if we take the box and make the box the voting urn, then we have cracked the game. And it's a fun game. In addition, there's some Survivor elements, like if you read the survival guide, you will see there is a clue that will lead you to finding an extra card hidden somewhere in the box. So I'm super proud of it. It was a joy to work with Exploding Kittens, and I feel confident if you like Survivor, you will like this game and you will feel like you were playing it minus the bugs.
So Jeff, going back to season 50 for a second, over the thousands of television series that have ever been made, only a few have reached 50 seasons. Guiding Light, 60 Minutes, Monday Night Football, SNL this year, and now Survivor, y'all made it to 50. Tell me about that achievement and what it is like for Survivor to have been at the pinnacle of the pop culture conversation for 25 years.
It's a weird question to contemplate because I just keep trying to be a part of making another great season. That sounds like a cop-out answer to your question, but I don't think anybody on our team is sitting around going, well, when we hit 50, then we'll get the cigars out. I'm already thinking about 51. So for me, it's personally greatest job I'll ever have. I knew that the day I got it. I knew that in 2000 when Mark hired me, that this was going to be the greatest experience of my life. I didn't think it would last 25 years. I thought it might get a few seasons, but I just knew at the core of the game was this study of human behavior and how we justify our ethics and how we can convince ourselves and persuade others to do all sorts of things if we really have a reason, like $1 million. That has not changed. And the fact that it's still on, I think says more about us than it does the game, because Survivor is us.
Over 4 dozen seasons of the show to date, at this point you've seen heroes, villains, blindsides, incredible gameplay, incredibly boneheaded moves, and I'm sure every type of player under the sun. Is there one arc or one moment from all of those seasons that you can point to and say, that is quintessentially Survivor?
For me, spiritually and emotionally and inspirationally, Suri Fields, getting up off the couch and saying, I'm a nurse. I don't know if I belong out in the jungle, but I want to try. She embodies everything I love about Survivor. And there's a moment in Game Changers where there's a balance beam and she's trying to get across the balance beam. You're in the middle of a real ocean. Waves are moving the balance beam around. It's already hard to cross in the first place. She can't get across the balance beam. And she keeps trying. The challenge ends. That's no longer interesting. Somebody won. Fantastic. What's more interesting is this is why you came out here, Sari, right here, to see if you could do it. And I still remember that moment. I'm getting goosebumps right now, remembering when as a host, I made the decision to change the focus from the challenge to the individual. And what happens is her tribe mates help her and she gets across that balance beam. And when I ask her why, she basically says, for my kids. I want my kids to know, just keep going. Just keep going. You may fail. Try again. That moved me a lot out there.
You're the host of Survivor, you're the EP, and I think more than anything else, you're probably the #1 fan of the show. So tell us, as we head into season 50, what excites you most about Survivor season 50?
We genuinely are giving as many opportunities as we can to the fans to have an impact. So we're all in on it together. The single most difficult decision that I've been a part of was figuring out who's going to be on the list of eligible players. Because we've had over 700 people play. And there are so many deserving players. We started, Michael, with a list of 200. So we had to get rid of 550 to begin with. And all 200, we're like, we could put all these people on the list. But the issue became, if you have a list of 200 eligible players, then the voting is kind of neutralized. It's just too many people. So what we're going to present is a composite of different types of players from different seasons that bring different areas of the game. These aren't just winners. These aren't just game changers. This is a composite of our 25 years of playing Survivor. And then we're going to say, here you go, fans. Now out of this list, you decide who you want to see play. And let's just see what they bring to it.
I would imagine that the cachet that comes with being the champion of Survivor season 50 is something that's going to be pretty epic. Jeff Probst, thank you so much for being part of IGN Fan Fest. This has been awesome. We appreciate your time.
Michael Payton, thanks for having me on.
I'm looking forward to it. Congrats. Thank you to Jeff Probst for joining us to talk all things Survivor. And for all things Fan Fest, be sure to keep it locked here on IGN.
The final day of IGN Fan Fest is fast approaching, and you know what, just take it.
Thank you. Thanks. It's been a fantastic week here at IGN Fan Fest. We're having fun, right?
So much fun.
It's good. So many impressive game reveals, deep dives, exclusive content shown throughout the week. Goldie, it's on you right now. This, how do you feel? The final block. What are we looking forward to?
Well, Sibley, it is the final day. You all made it, so give yourself a round of applause.
Oh.
Yeah.
Some might say it's a good day, but I am all about greatness, so I think it's a great day. Today, there's Mythic Quest, the hit Apple TV Plus series that you all gamers can't seem to get enough of.
Don't you forget about the companion series, though. Side Quest, we've got that coming up as well.
I don't do sides. I'm all about the meat.
Oh. Well, regardless of which show we're talking about, we all know who's the best in show.
Okay, ladies, hold up. Let's keep things positive, okay? Let's stay on track. It's the last day, IGN. There's so many exciting interviews coming your way. Mythic Quest, Side Quest, and the new superhero Disney Plus series, Daredevil, Born Again. All of this and a whole lot more on IGN Fan Fest.
FanFest is presented by Rush of iCore. Learn more at upperdeck.com/iCore.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Welcome back to Fan Fest. Next up, Mythic Quest is in the middle of its 4th season, and joining the party will be Side Quest, an anthology series featuring characters from the show that premieres in March. We'll hear more about Side Quest in a bit, but first, let's check out what's next for Mythic Quest with a first look at an upcoming episode of the show.
Ooh, what you working on? Just some legacy code.
Legacy code?
Yeah.
Right, because you respected David's decision to kill your expansion.
She knows.
Oh, damn it! You rat us out?
No, I hate David. Oh, is this it?
Yeah, in all its glory.
Ooh, wow. Well, how much does it mean to you? Because if I don't get my game back, I am gonna smash this thing.
Come on. You think we have one copy of it? And it's just sitting on a random hard drive on my desk? Please, I am a professional. That expansion is backed up 6 ways to Sunday.
Honestly, Dana, like, it's a little bit sad. I mean,
I'm embarrassed for
if
you.
you want to smash it, go ahead and smash it.
Yeah, fun for all of us.
This is more about Mythic Quest than it is about us. They own your game, not us.
Oh my God!
Are you serious?
I meant to back it up. I didn't think that we have to worry about in-house hammer-wielding terrorists. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know what to do.
Master Chief
Oh,
in
yeah?
Halo, you know, like that's kind of an extension of my personality anyway. I think everyone here
Picturing him and hearing your voice come out of it.
Notice the nodding. They do.
Mhm.
That Master Chief.
Hi everyone, Kim Horcher here with the cast and creative team behind Mythic Quest. We are heading into season 4 now. Thank you all for joining me here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Guys.
I have a question for you all. Thinking of your character and everything they've experienced in season 1 and learned, if you were to give them any advice, your season 1 self, what would it be?
I feel like one of the fun things about season 4 is that Poppy is finally taking the advice that I would have given her in season 1, which is you need to have a life outside of Mythic Quest and IGN.
I guess I'd tell Jo to make friends, because having friends in the office has really benefited her.
I would tell Dana to just do it, and I would piggyback on that because she is just doing it.
I would say for Brad, you don't need to go to jail to prove a point. Maybe one lesson, maybe.
I would probably say to Rachel, don't. Just don't.
I would say you're smart, you're funny. Darn it, people like you.
Yeah. I would say to Ian, do anything you have to, never let her leave.
Whoa.
That could go either way, by the way. That could be controlling.
I think I know what he's talking about.
I know, it kind of sounds like a threat.
Yeah.
If you're a gamer, what kind of games do you play? This is for everyone.
Right now I'm playing UFO 50, which is actually 50 games in one. I play lots of different kinds of games. Not to brag. My favorite genres right now are roguelikes and detective games.
And I play mindless mobile games. I sort colors.
That still counts.
Yeah.
It counts, trust me.
I do that
My
too,
screen
Jesse.
time is through the roof.
I'm doing Block Blast a lot right now, which is I'm terrible at because I still come at it from a Tetris perspective, and it's different, but I'm enjoying it.
I play games with my kids, so whatever they're into, I'll get into. And we played this over this past year, a game called Cuphead, which is
So hard.
That's a fun.
known as one of the hardest games, and it's miserable. It's it has actually caused more fighting in our household between adults and children than almost anything else.
I feel like it's not a game for children.
Cuphead?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's well, you know, we also watch Sunny, so I mean, you know,
Right.
it's a kind of a loose house.
Balance.
I mean, you played The Last of Us with your kids.
I played The Last of Us with Axel, although he was my 14-year-old. No, he was 12 at the time. And even worse, he was allowed to watch it, but he wasn't allowed to play it. So yeah, he was just watching his dad get murdered and mutilated, and also murder and mutilate.
If your characters were stuck in a real MMO, who would survive the longest and who would die immediately?
I think Brad would survive the longest.
You think Brad, not Joe?
Ooh. Oh, maybe
I
it
just
would
think
be Joe,
in
actually.
any situation, Joe's gonna survive the longest.
That's true. That's true. That's very fair. I think Rachel dies first.
Yeah, Rachel dies
Rachel or David are gone first.
Wait, before David?
I was gonna say it's between Rachel and David.
I feel like Ian and Poppy die first just because they'd be arguing and the ego.
Yeah, they don't
David has had to navigate chaos. And he's a survivor.
He is a survivor.
No discernible talent or skill.
Oh.
And yet,
David
and yet he always seems to survive. So I don't know. I think I would put David towards.
Yeah, he's a sleeper.
Okay.
Right. I've navigated some stuff at home, you know what I'm saying? Like ever since my childhood, Brittlesby, and now it's just playing out in the workplace.
Brittlesby.
Yeah, baby Brittlesby. I mean, there's trauma there. You know, I surprise you.
Baby Brittlesby.
Should we do like a Muppet Babies type spin-off?
Baby Brittlesby. I want to see Baby Brittlesby.
Baby Poppy.
That's the breakaway episode.
I mean, Jesse hasn't directed yet, and it seems like
I'm available.
Are we doing the
So something interesting this season. Both Charlotte and Amani directed, which I think was for the first time.
Yeah.
And then Danny's directed a second episode after season 3, and of course Ashley has been heavily involved, writing, directing. We have Side Quest now, and that's not something you often see an ensemble show trust creative power to its casts. Can any of you talk about shifting gears or trying this new experience?
I mean, I think it's just such a credit to the creators and producers of the show and you know, Rob and Megan Gans and David, that I think that it means that we treasure the show in a very particular way, because we all have this creative input and ownership over it that varies in what our roles are, but it always feels very collaborative and extremely rewarding. And yeah, I was very nervous to be directing for the first time this season, but it's almost like the minute that I got the script and read David's hilarious writing, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I know this show so well and I know what I love about it, and yeah, that was really empowering.
Yeah, I would say that this is like the most ideal situation you could be in to, you know, have a launching pad into directing, because we've gotten to know the show so well. We know these characters, we've worked with the crew. So from jump, it was very supportive and collaborative. And, you know, I got bit by the bug of directing. Keep going, hire me.
She's a DGA member.
Yeah, I think the vertical integration of like having people have ownership and more just like, and more than just the acting it benefits us all, you know, like for everyone to have a part of the creative process more, and the ownership of the show has really helped us, and it brings you know, Charlotte's point of view, giving me acting notes, which I certainly
And I had notes.
And we're all really rooting for each other. Like, it was so fun to see all of the actors step into the director's spot because people wanted each other to do well.
Yeah, and you feel that as well.
I'm a big fan of your work as a voiceover artist. This is kind of a question for everyone else, though. If you were able to voice a video game protagonist, who would it be?
You know, I've been thinking about how, like, the biggest gaming period of my life was probably as a teenager when I would play hours and hours of The Sims.
I was gonna say the same.
You would be such a
You
good
and I should
Sim.
be the new Sim voices.
We should.
Like,
Can you
Cash
speak
Russian effort. I can't remember it.
in
It's
Simlish?
It's definitely put somewhere in a vault in my brain that I had to one day close my computer and be like, you can't do this anymore. You've given too much of your life.
Some of us haven't done that yet.
Master Chief
Oh,
in
yeah?
Halo, you know, like that's kind of an extension of my personality anyway. I think everyone here would
Picturing
agree.
him and hearing your
They
voice
do.
come out
No,
of it.
notice the
It's that
nodding.
name.
They do.
It's that name.
That Master Chief. Halo.
Master Chief's on set.
Can you do a line?
No, I cannot do that.
Absolutely not.
I will absolutely not do a line.
Oh boy. Jesse, what is it like to play someone who is unhinged but has humanizing moments?
It's the best. It's my dream come true. I love playing Joe, and I honestly don't look forward to playing a normal person. This has just been the gift of a lifetime, and I really love every time we start back up, and it's always a little concerning how easy it is to slip right back into playing Joe.
Charlotte, I would argue that Poppy has one of the most drastic shifts this season. I was actually really surprised and impressed that it went the way that it did. Can you talk about what's going on with her and what you might like to see from her in the future?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the massive shift is that Poppy has a boyfriend in episode 1, which I was also really surprised. I didn't know that Poppy had any kind of romantic inclinations other than obviously being really good at sex. Obviously. But yeah, I feel like in my mind, there's some time has passed between season 3 and season 4, and where we leave Poppy at the end of season 3 is she and Ian have this conversation about sort of the reality of their relationship and creative partnership, and the fact that they kind of need each other and they love each other, but it's always going to be what it is. And so I think that Poppy kind of goes away and thinks, well, if this is always going to be this, what is there for me outside of Mythic Quest? Like, I need to start like filling out who I am as a person. So when we find her again at the beginning of season 4, she's done that. She has a bit of a work-life balance. She has this like hot boyfriend, which is like, go Poppy. Casting on that was excellent. She's kind of happy for the first time in her life, which is a really weird position to put her and Ian in. Because I don't think, I mean, yeah, you can probably speak to this, but I don't think he knows how to handle that.
Yeah, he doesn't really know a professional life without her, or at least it's been, I don't know, 15 years, right, since he's had to navigate that. And I think Ian loves Poppy for sure, but and I think it's reciprocated, but I don't think they like each other as much, and yet they need each other. And so the question is that we have to always be asking ourselves as a show is this worth it? And that's really a theme that just keeps coming back and back and back and forth because it's so hard to answer that question, honestly.
All right, everyone, if you could sum up season 4 with a game title, for example, God of War, Life is Strange, Blood Rain, what would it be?
Like an actual game title?
Yeah. Or you can make one up if you want.
Oh, I see. Mythic Quest, The Sims. Like
yes.
that.
Thank you.
Oh, that's funny. I'm blanking on so many game names.
Yeah.
I was making one up.
You're supposed to be out. Tetris.
We're doing, we have to do a real
Tetris. Yeah,
Real
Tetris.
game or are we making one up?
Real games.
No, you can make one up if you want.
Okay.
Working with assholes. I feel like that would play, right?
Mythic Quest, working with assholes. That's what we're landing on?
Yeah.
That's strong to me.
And it premieres tomorrow.
And it premieres tomorrow. Yeah.
All right, Mythic Quest season 4, not : working with assholes. Thank you all for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
you.
Thank you.
film. Mythic Quest gives you what you need. All that pressure turned a lump of coal into a diamond. Beautiful, shining diamond.
Oh, I can barely see the diamond.
But I can. He's standing right in front of me.
From the world of Mythic Quest.
We're finishing this raid together. What up, losers?
Comes a 4-episode expansion.
Tonight I will be your guide as we journey together.
Enjoy.
That'll blow your mind.
Girl.
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 Welcome to hell.
Let's do this!
Dive queen, dive queen.
Side quest.
It's not like there's a lot of black characters in comics.
There are some we claim as black.
Skeeter from Doug, Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z.
Big Bird.
Sir, are you dead inside?
Coming soon to Apple TV Plus. Streaming March 26th.
Oh, God. Completely different. No. Despite what he might think, Rob does not enter into every conversation that we have.
Hello, everybody. We just saw the trailer to Side Quest, and now we are going to talk to the creative team behind the show. So this is an anthology series with all but one episode centered around characters that we haven't previously seen through the show. What was the impetus for creating these specific characters in these specific situations?
Yeah, part of the conceit of the show when we were kind of coming up with what Side Quest could be was the idea that if Ian and Poppy and the characters in Mythic Quest were gods, these were sort of the mortals that are always getting kind of screwed over by the gods in all of the myths, because we're so focused on the workplace of it all. But every decision that they make has repercussions on the fans and the other employees that maybe we don't spend a lot of time with, but have come to know in some of the episodes. And just what does that mean to them to be a rabid fan of a game that is being controlled by people who sort of have their own agendas going on and aren't always thinking, even though they are very fan forward in creating the Mythic Quest game, sometimes their egos get in the way of what could be a better story and a better outcome for some of the people that come to rely on it and love it.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of normal people involved in making a really popular game and creating a really popular game. And it's interesting to see a lot of it through their lens. So one of the Hallmark episodes I've seen people point to a lot as perhaps their favorite was Dark Quiet Death, starring Kristen Milioti and Jake Johnson. Do you see Side Quest as kind of continuing that kind of storytelling rooted in the gaming industry, but not necessarily tied to, Mythic Quest's main story?
Yeah, totally. And Katie wrote that, by the way. That was definitely the popularity of that episode was definitely what started this show, frankly. That episode does such a great job of showcasing a creative relationship and the pitfalls of creative relationships. And so we sort of took that into Side Quest of how can we make something funny that's in this world that really tells a story that's either about a relationship with creativity, about a community. And so that's been the impetus of a lot of the episodes that we made for this particular show.
I was going to bring that up later because I noticed a uniting theme that, they're all separate stories, but it was people's relationship with creativity and their passions being something that is troubling to them, but also kind of the only thing they love and know, and having a troubled relationship with that. Is that something that was personal to any of you here?
Oh, no. I don't have any issues with my creativity.
Every day is a dream. Having a front row seat to these three is, they've never had a question or an second guess in their life. It's just, no, but genuinely, I love watching I am not a writer on this show, and yet all three of these are extraordinary writers, and getting to watch them sort of grapple with what it is to be creative while excelling at a very high level of creativity is really, it's cool because it's like, I don't know, it's like building a car and you're the car.
exactly what it's like. It's good. It's true. It's like you're when you use something that's a part of your personality also, which is like if you're a creative person or a funny person, and then you try to make that your job, what you're sacrificing is any days off ever, really, because like you've now intertwined these two things. And so I always laugh when people say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, because I would argue it's the opposite. If you really love what you do, you don't take any days off. When you fail at work, you feel terrible and you take it home with you. So definitely all of that like bleeds into these shows where we can understand that for a lot of people, you know, gameplay is their creative expression. It is how they show the world their personality. So when things go wrong in their games, or when the powers that be are screwing up their games, it feels like they're screwing up their lives. And so that made the drama so much higher and realer for SideQuest.
Which episode was conceived first?
The Last Raid.
Oh, really?
It was the first one that we came up with.
Yeah. I mean, you all we'd built Mythic Quest, the game for the show, Mythic Quest, and you from the very beginning had thought, what if we get to see more of that? What if we get to live in that world?
I feel like was that John's idea, maybe? John Hal Harris?
That came from, so a lot of how SideQuest kind of came to be was that we were, in season 3 of Mythic Quest, we were just blue sky pitching ideas for what the standalone episode for that season could be. And we just filled the whiteboard up with like, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. And then we looked at it and it was like, well, this should just be its own show. And because there's so many great ideas that we wouldn't be able to explore fully in Mythic Quest, so it needed kind of its own space to live. And so that, the Last Raid came about because of a story that we had heard about some in-game situation that became very real in the outside world as well. And then we combined that with wanting to just have an episode that was completely in-game. And then we had an original road trip story where it was about a group that was breaking up. And we were like, well, and again, that's part of the creative process of what can you jam together to then all these kind of disparate pieces that like, actually, if we put these together, you'd have an even more compelling story.
We also felt like, since we knew we wanted it to be in game, we had no idea how that was going to work. And when we assumed it was going to be like animation, it would take a long time. So we're like, well, let's break that first. We were correct. It took a long time.
I wanted to look at episode 1. That was with Song and Dance with Derek Waters, Phil. What made you decide to bring Phil back?
Phil. I mean, like the long-suffering art director, and Derek is so great, and he's just so funny in Mythic Quest and all of his other projects. And so for this, it was like, yes, of course. If we want to have a character that's going to bring us into this world, then it's Phil. And because I think we can also, as Ashley said about The Last Raid, where we wanted to find these universal experiences, and who hasn't felt underappreciated in their job. But then also to tie it into what happens when you're kind of using your job as an excuse to not progress in other areas of your life where you feel a little less confident. So he was a good conduit for a universal experience.
Was his emotional, interpretive dance scene inspired by the one Rob did in It's Always Sunny?
No, it was inspired by something completely different.
No.
Do you want to tell this story of Jason?
So one of our dear colleagues that was at Ubisoft and helped Mythic Quest to happen, Jason Altman, he was working for Just Dance, and he had to go to Japan, I believe it was, and present to them. They had some updates that they were doing, so he was there to kind of present them, and they was like, okay, do the
demonstrate.
dance. And he was like,
Just Dance.
What? And they were like, Just Dance. And he is like the most like just reserved, kind, sweet, gentle, behind the camera, does not want anything to do with it. And he finds himself dancing it was for the cultural board or something, to make sure that it kind of went in line with cultural sensibilities. And there he is, just dancing his ass off in a room full of people. I mean, his literal nightmare. And we were like, absolutely, we are stealing it. So as Megan says, you never take a day off when neither do the people around you. I will mine your trauma for our comedy.
That's terrible. Oh, that's so sad you went through that.
All right, for episode 2, Pull List, it's centered around a Black comic shop and is based around fandom and being a nerd within the lens of that specific community. Tell me about getting this episode made and finding the right writers to put it together.
So we had Javi Scott, who is our writer's assistant and co-wrote that episode, and then Leanne Bowen, who is one of our co-EPs. We really wanted to tell a story in the Black nerd space because it's such a massive community, and Black culture is its own culture, and that cross-section we thought was like really interesting and really fun. And Javi is a Black, he's maybe the nerdiest person I know. He's so nerd. He taught a bunch of our cast members literally how to play Magic the Gathering during the filming of that episode. So it really is a love letter to that community. It's very much inspired by Javi's experience. So that was really the impetus for it. And man, we got lucky with that cast also because they just gel like they've known each other forever.
I just thought it was so brilliant what you did with, it sort of to me was like a meditation on gatekeeping and how you see a community that never felt like they had a space, and then all of a sudden they feel like they have this space that's just meant for them. And then they in turn sometimes become the bullies that keep other people out of this space. But you can totally empathize with how they became that way while also understanding like, oh, you've become the thing you've hated now, you know, that you're, so watching that episode, like I felt myself so pulled in, and I so felt that struggle. So I thought that was just like this brilliant episode where you're like, yes, it's so, who gets to, if it's a safe space for somebody, how mean can you be to outside people in order to keep your safe space? And where's the morality of that? Like, I loved it. I thought it was brilliantly acted and done. You know, bottle episodes typically work because you've had seasons to set up who characters are before they're all stuck in a room together. So the fact that you created characters and kept them in a room together and made us care about them all within one episode, brilliant.
Ah, that's nice. Thanks, Megan.
Well, this is it. Thank you all for joining me today, for going overtime with me today. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Megan, Genevieve, Katie, Ashley. Side Quest will be dropping on Apple TV Plus on March 26th.
And up onto the flank, Chi-Chu has brought him an opportunity, and no one can stand against that.
Presented by the Army National Guard. Valorant is back for another year of excitement. That's right, it's the VCT 2025 season. I am so excited to see my favorite teams go head-to-head on the path to greatness, and there is a ton to look forward to. Here's NRG's Baby Bay to tell you the biggest things you should keep an eye on.
What's up, everyone? Let's get you up to speed. Valorant's international leagues already kicked off in January with the top 2 teams from each region qualifying for Masters Bangkok. You can watch that on the VCT Twitch broadcast through March 2nd to catch all the action. Of course, we're going to be heading to the first stage of the year with the top 3 teams from each Stage 1 playoff heading to Toronto for the next Masters tournament. That runs from June 7th to the 22nd, giving teams the chance to win up to 7 championship points for that tournament alone. But then after that, it's the last chance to qualify for this year's Valorant Champions in Paris. You know I want to be there. I'm sure you guys are going to want to be there too. The top 2 teams from Americas, EMEA, Pacific, and China will qualify. They're going to duke it out. And 2 other teams with the most championship points will go head-to-head in the City of Lights to crown the next Valorant champions.
48 teams, 3 international events, 1 world champion. That was your Valorant Look Forward, brought to you by the Army National Guard. Just like these players chasing greatness, soldiers can level up their careers while serving part-time. With flexible service, they can train 1 weekend a month and may qualify to get education benefits or tuition assistance for college. Want to learn more? Visit nationalguard.com/esports. Thanks, Baby Bay. Who are you supporting this VCT season? Let us know in the comments. And now it's time for more IGN Fan Fest. Fan Fest is presented by the Army National Guard. Rise to every challenge and overcome everything. The next greatest generation is now.
Welcome to Geek Media, a brand new podcast network from IGN Entertainment, where we celebrate games.
Time to begin our Game of the Year.
Tech.
Do the same results at 20 watts.
And entertainment.
Welcome to IGN Live.
We connect you with the stories, voices, and topics you love.
I love Soul Calibur. Banger fighting game series. I wish it would come back.
Geek Media is an ever-growing collection of some of the biggest and best scripted
You just kind of, and you cease to exist.
and unscripted podcasts in the world.
We were talking about a Spider-Man video game. It's not like, a 401k or anything.
And they're all told through a vibrant audio community that celebrates and empowers the geek in everyone.
Absolutely adored that game. I think it's one of the best platformers made.
We're building a global community of enthusiasts, igniting growth and creativity across every platform, and we invite you to join the conversation. And hey, when you're here, everything is better. That's why Geek Media is everywhere you are. We reach over 490 million people every month across 110 countries. And with over 83 million followers across every social media site, you won't have to go far to find us.
Hey, what's up, Super Ninfriendos? We got this locked down.
You can tune into any of our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. We can't wait to geek out with you. Geek Media. Behind every story is a geek.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts.
I just knew we were doing a book that made me really, really excited as someone who grew up a Turtles fan and as someone who just loves good comic book stories.
Welcome back to Fan Fest. Joining me now are Jason Aaron, writer of one of the best-selling comics of 2024 with the TMNT relaunch, alongside Caleb Gellner, writer of the TMNT Cross Naruto series. Welcome. Jason, I wanted to start this off with you. We saw the main TMNT comic get relaunched last year along with a number of other new books. Is there a guiding mission statement or philosophy for the TMNT line right now?
I mean, for me, on this book, the guiding principle was just looking back at that original series, original Mirage Studios book. Last year was the 40th anniversary of that series kicking off and introducing the Turtles. So, and that was my first experience with those characters before the films or the cartoons or anything. It was that original black and white Mirage Studios book. So I wanted to try to recapture some of the grittiness and griminess and the big double page spreads and action scenes of grimy turtles fighting ninjas in New York City alleyways. So that's kind of the spirit we were going for, but also to tell a story that felt new and felt like it was taking these characters forward after all the stuff they'd been through in the previous 150 issues of the IDW series, to see how they've kind of grown up a little bit and reached a turning point in their lives where they're going in 4 different directions and trying to figure out how do they come back together and be the heroes they used to be, that they need to be to win this fight.
Now, obviously, the last Ronin series has been a huge success for IDW. TMNT #1 was one of the best-selling comics of last year. So looking at the success of those series and other books like the Absolute line at DC, the Ultimate line at Marvel, and the Energon universe at Skybound, do you think there's been like a pent-up demand for these big, clean, jumping-on points for popular franchises?
I mean, certainly seems like it after last year, and I'm very happy to have been a part of a couple of those. I still don't really even think about that stuff. Like, I sit down to do my job, like here at my desk in an empty basement by myself, and I'm just trying to make up stories that get me excited. And I knew as soon as I got the call about doing Turtles, which is not really a job I'd ever imagined would come my way. Like, when I got that call, I was excited for that opportunity and realized I think I can do something kind of cool. And then, got to work with an incredible, ridiculous cavalcade of artists over the course of those first 6 issues. So I just knew we were doing a book that made me really, really excited as someone who grew up a Turtles fan and as someone who just loves good comic book stories. Because I think this is a story for you if you've loved the Turtles for 40 years, if you've never heard of them until this moment in time. And so thankfully that excitement seems to have translated to other people.
When your series launched, the Turtles were scattered to the 4 corners of the globe. We're only just now seeing them reunited. Has it been satisfying to reestablish that status quo and explore the family dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, those first 4 issues are really fun to write when you're seeing each of the brothers kind of in a different situation around the globe. I had a lot of fun with those, of like what kind of trouble they had gotten into, and then what starts to bring them back together. But the real fun is what happens once they are all together, right? Like seeing how those 4 characters bounce off each other. And at this point in time in the book, things aren't great. Like it's not. They're not really happy to see each other. In issue 6, when they finally make their way back to New York City, we see that the city has changed as well. Like the entire city of New York City has been weaponized against them by this new villain who's a part of the Foot Clan. So the Turtles find themselves the most hated entities in the 5 boroughs, the 6 boroughs, I guess, including Mutant Town. So the odds are stacked against them in a huge way. And again, they can't even stand to be around each other, it seems like. So how are they going to come together and win this fight?
Well, speaking of issue number 6, that marked the debut of Juan Ferreira, who's going to be the main artist on the series going forward. Are you excited to have a more consistent visual style going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it made sense to kind of use different artists for those first 5 issues because we focused on the different turtles, and then issue 5 focused on our new bad guy, who's the district attorney of New York City. But having Juan come on with issue 6 made sense because that's kind of really when the main bulk of the plot picks up. And Juan, even though he was following this sort of group of titans on this book, artistic titans, he's doing incredible work. I think anybody who sees issue 6 and 7 will realize this guy was born to draw the Turtles. He was born to draw this kind of turtle story, jumping through alleyways, running across the rooftops of Manhattan. Like Juan's work on this has been absolutely killer. So I think even though he's following all those legends, he's really making this book his own, I think, in a huge way.
Now, Caleb, TMNT Cross Naruto has given you and Hendry Porcetia a chance to reimagine the look of the Turtles and their universe. Are you happy with how the series has turned out so far?
I couldn't be happier, I don't think. I only had a few basic little suggestions about how to do that. I can't take any credit for the Turtles awesome redesigns. I was like, I don't know, put them in masks in the first issue, like in Naruto, and what they came back with was just unreal. I hope they get made into toys. I don't have any say, I don't have any insight, but that's my wish, just so I can put them up in my shelf with my collection. You write the script and you kind of imagine it, but you never know what's going to come out. And whatever you get back is it just blows you away every time. I get to have the same feeling as a reader going into a shop and seeing this stuff come to life.
Have these characters surprised you in the way they interact and play off of one another?
I mean, it's funny, I write this stuff and I just kind of forget what I even did. You're trying to do a good job. And so, yeah, all of it's a surprise. It comes back. I'm like, I wrote that? That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Mikey's being funny with the group. I really like the heavies. I like Raph and Sakura. I like the way they bounce off each other because they're both kind of the tanks of the teams.
What can fans expect from the series as you move into Big Apple Village, veer into the conflict with the Foot Clan?
Well, we'll just say the creator of Naruto, he had one request for this crossover. It was to have a certain villain appear and for the Naruto characters to fight that certain villain. I'm not going to say who, but I think everybody's going to be pretty stoked. I know I am, and I can't wait to see how folks react, because so far the vibe on the book's super positive, and I really appreciate everybody coming on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. All this new TMNT content looks very exciting. Is there anything else you care to share with the audience before we let you go?
No, I think just thanks, thanks for the response to these books, to the Turtles universe. For me, somebody who's just, been a fan up until last year, getting to work with these characters for the first time, it's been super cool and fun to be welcomed into that, that corner of comicdom.
It's a fantastic fandom. Every convention you go to with Turtles fans, it's just an outpouring of enthusiasm and love. And doing signings for this book, it's the same with the Naruto fandom. I don't know what it is about ninjas, but you know, if you gave like Daredevil's enemies the Hand their own series, I'm sure you'd get like some really nice fans at conventions too.
Well, thank you to both Jason and Caleb. I'm Damon, and there is lots more Fan Fest still to come, so stick around.
You're watching IGN Fan Fest. McFarlane Toys has been absolutely killing it with some of the coolest collectibles on Earth, and they're not stopping anytime soon. Here to reveal some brand new toys is Brian Walters from McFarlane Toys. Hey, what's up, man?
Doing great. How are you? Thanks for having us.
So let's start with the Mortal Kombat Classic with a K for both of those things.
Of course.
7-inch series of toys that you guys are putting out this year.
Yeah, so this summer, San Diego Comic-Con timing, perfect time to release a toy line like this. Long overdue, in my opinion, to celebrate the classic character designs of the first 2-3 Mortal Kombat games that were released in the 90s.
So McFarlane's done Mortal Kombat stuff before. It's a little, I would say, a little more modern, grotesque. You know, some of the characters are holding skulls that have been ripped out of bodies and stuff like that. Fun stuff. I have the Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and stuff like that. What was the sort of motivation behind these toys? Because this is definitely the more brighter colorways. You know, it's not simpler sculpts, but before they were all sort of covered in all sorts of bells and whistles as they are now.
Well, right. We love the more modern games like MK1 that came out just this past year, and Mortal Kombat 11, which we made many figures from, including Spawn appeared in that game as well. But we've seen, you know, the more nostalgic games resonate with collector fans way more, and we wanted to celebrate that. We don't think those character designs had ever been given the proper justice in, you know, 22 points of articulation, 3D sculpting, all the production advances that have occurred over the last 30 years that collector action figures have been made. So yeah, we wanted to go back and start from the beginning and go from there.
Yeah, this is awesome because, like, I don't know if you're old enough like me to have played the original Mortal Kombat games when they came out on an arcade. You probably remember some toys came out, but they weren't really at this level. So we've got some accessories here. We've got alternate head sculpts. I really like Sub-Zero's sort of like swappable hands where he's throwing ice balls and stuff like that. How many are we launching the first line with, and are there plans to do more?
Right, so there's going to be many waves. We hope this is a long, kind of fruitful, long-running line. There's going to be 3 to 4 characters released as single figures, and then deluxe 2-packs that are going to come loaded with accessories and a battle base, and you could kind of recreate the arena scene. But it's a great partnership. We're embarking with Warner Brothers Discovery Global Consumer Products. They've been great partners with us on DC and this going forward, so we're really excited about that. But yeah, I would like to think, you know, 4 to 12 figures a year if we can get there.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Yeah, it's such a great place to start because those games are so classic with a K, obviously, and they just kept building more and more characters on them, and they're all extremely toyetic. Like a lot of them have very fun action features just existing within those games. So
right, it's been a lot of fun to capture. You know, there's lots of the blast effects. How do we get those as accessories? Can we incorporate kind of finisher moves or fatalities and things like that? How do we incorporate that into the toys? We're still developing that. Those are very early looks, what you're seeing on screen, those renders, but stay tuned, coming soon. We've got a lot of events from Toy Fair to WonderCon to San Diego where you're going to see development every step of the way.
And that coming soon is with a K.
Exactly, right.
So let's move on to the 5-inch scale Page Puncher Ninja Turtles. You and I are both huge Turtle fans. Some of the first toys I ever bought that I really got obsessed with were the Ninja Turtles. Tell me about this line.
So we are hyper-focused on the IDW mainline comic book line. It's the longest, one of the longest running Turtle storylines in Turtles history. That's an example of an early Leonardo sculpt. Every figure, every 5-inch figure, 5-inch scale figure, I should say, comes with a IDW TMNT book with the character that's in the box as an action figure on the cover of the comic. So you're going to have the source material right there. They're going to come with a variety of accessories. Ultra articulated, so on par with what we've done with DC and Mortal Kombat.
Right.
There's going to be great posability. We've really, you know, honed in on the IDW look, which has been established by so many great artists. Paramount Global Consumer Products have been a huge partner, IDW as well. So we're really excited to bring those to life as action figures in the 5-inch scale. The Turtles will be kind of the 5-inch baseline, but those larger creatures will be larger, and not everything's going to be jam-packed into a 5-inch size.
I love it. One of the things that we saw here is that obviously a bunch of different incredibly talented artists work on this line, but you have to somehow turn that into a sort of cohesive toy line. So what were some of the challenges there? Because you have some of the most iconic TMNT comic book covers of all time, painted, sculpted, or drawn by different people, and then you turn them all into like one line of sculpts.
Well, the beautiful thing is we have our founder is one of the most iconic comic book artists of all time. So his ability to extrapolate and identify, you know, certain characteristics of each artist and how to get that into a sculpt or a paint application, that's a secret weapon. I mean, Todd's kind of second to none in translating those designs. So you're able to pick that up through inking techniques that these artists use, from some of the sculpting, some of the coloring that goes on in the books. So we've been able to translate that pretty cleanly, I think.
How surreal is this for you on a personal level to be working on a new Ninja Turtle toy line as somebody that grew up with them?
Beyond belief. We were talking earlier that my trip down to the toy aisle when I was 5 or 6, and I saw Leonardo for the very first time, not knowing anything about the comics or even the TV show. I don't even know if it was it started, but I became just such a huge fan, and so to come back 30 years later, more or less, is
now
surreal.
When I was little, I had all 4 Turtles, Casey Jones, Splinter, and I only had 1 Foot Soldier, and they were just, it was not fair for him, really. He didn't deserve it. I think he probably stole a TV, and 6 people kicked his butt.
Right.
Will there be some enemies and Foot Soldiers and such for these Turtles to beat up on?
Yeah, we love villains at McFarlane Toys, and we love army builders, and I think any collector or fan of some of the other lines we've made knows that we don't try to shy away from army builders. So I think Foot Soldiers on the ready will be available for consumers to make sure that they have a fair fight, right? So,
great.
Yeah.
Well, translating a 2D image into a 3D sculpt is something that McFarlane Toys has been doing extremely well the last few years. Sure. There's one comic book. It's one of the most iconic covers of all time. Todd McFarlane was involved with it very clearly. And you're turning it into a statue.
Right. So we brought it here with us. If we can show it off. But
can't wait for this.
Spawn #1 not kickstarted literally, but launched the career of Spawn in the Image Comics world. Is the longest running creator-owned character of all time. That's a snapshot of the cover there that Todd wrote and illustrated. And we're happy to bring this to life in 3D form as a resin statue, so we'd love to unbox it here. This one, I believe, is going to be part of a sweepstakes, and we're going to give it away, and it's signed by Todd himself on the scroll that Todd puts on all of his comic books on the covers there. So a nice piece of iconography there. They've translated, the sculpting team has translated the trade dress of the comic book, and that's the actual statue base, which is a really nice feature. You get the nice Image Comics logo on the left-hand side. So if we can crack this open.
Let's do it. I mean, growing up reading comic books and buying Spawn when it first came out, issue #1, like #1s were such a big deal at the time. Right? So, the comic books had been going on for so long that you felt like you were sort of late to the party being a kid, and getting in on the ground floor of Spawn was special. So seeing this in front of me right now is just giving me goosebumps, man.
Well, in the comic, when it came, I mean, the images just leapt off the page. Yeah. We wanted to make sure we captured that in statue form from a deco and a sculpt point of view. So really excited to bring this to product form.
So only 930 of these are going to get made.
Right, yeah, so just under 1,000, very limited, not, I think the comic was printed in the many millions. This is a much more special item, and like I said, I think it's the first time we've done this in 3D form. It's a real special item.
Let's open it up. Let's see what's inside.
Yeah. So obviously in 4-color packaging here, we've pre-cut the polyfoam so that we can expedite this unboxing a little bit. I'll do this as gracefully as I can. Brian, if you mind grabbing that side there. There we go.
There we go. It's called teamwork.
Okay, it's the bottom. So there's a little bit of user assembly, consumer assembly here, but nothing too extreme.
Crazy. Okay, so we've got the base here with the logo on it. First of all, you nailed the colors.
Yep.
That is the perfect green. That is like when you saw that on a shelf in the 90s, you just knew you were in for something special.
Exactly. So here's this is a special cool call out. So here's the placard that Todd signed, which replicates what he signs all of his covers with there. Now this cape, and this is why they bringing this statue to life may have taken so long. because the cape is just crazy. Goes around and around and around and around.
Wow. This is awesome, man.
Right? Yeah, I think
like
it is.
that is such a great sculpt.
So there's actually an extra piece of cape here that we'll have to attach as well.
It's Spawn. He always has a not unnecessary but egregious amount of cape.
It makes it challenging on the costing side when we have to do these things here.
Okay, so 2 parts to the cape. You're going to put them together right now. Again, 930 of these, and that's it.
That's all there is. I suppose there's always a chance we re-release a color variant, but we at McFarlane Toys, we don't re-release the same item twice exactly as it was. So there's a magnetic key here to get that extra piece of cape there. So this just plugs in to the base. There's one major connection point that gets you the bulk of the statue there.
That is just nuts. I love this so much. Like, are you kidding me? That cape is amazing.
And then the necroplasm, which he has in his hand, I might need to take this out again.
That is the technical term for it, right?
Yes, I believe, yeah. I will get this keyed in.
And again, like that was one of the most visually identifying things of the original cover was just like, wait, what does he? What can this guy do? What's his powers?
So,
it was just so cool getting in on the ground floor of that and trying to figure out like what this dude was all about, and then seeing it. This is incredible. Like the colors, the sculpt, the details, like the paint ops and everything are just so well done here.
And then if you're not familiar with the comic, there's a collector trading card that comes with it as well, with a bio, a synopsis on the back, with a cool description of the comic cover and the special nature Spawn #1. So.
I love it. Yeah. So you've got the logo in the front. You've got the autographed placard from Todd McFarlane himself, and like you said, we're gonna give this away to a lucky reader on IGN.com or a viewer of this video. Speaking of which, we actually have a special message from legendary comic book artist and toy maker Todd McFarlane himself. Let's take a look.
Hey everybody, Todd McFarlane here. Just want to say welcome to everybody here at the IGN Fan Fest. Hope everybody liked the reveal of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff and news that we brought you, along with Mortal Kombat, 2 big brands. Hope you guys dig that. Oh, by the way, if you go to IGN.com, you can enter into a contest and you can possibly win a big resin statue of Spawn from the cover of issue #1. I think it's a $300 or $400 statue. Enter, you might get it for free. It's super cool. Take a look at it. Go to IGN.com.
So head to IGN.com right now for your chance to own this thing and bring it home to your house, and your chance for me to be extremely envious of you because I want it. It's awesome. Brian, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Great to go over these 2 exciting announcements from McFarlane Toys and show off this Spawn statue in real life in person.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, TMNT, Spawn. Come on.
What more could you ask for?
What more can you ask for? You can go to IGN.com right now, register to win this autographed Spawn statue. Please go do that. Brian, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, everyone, go buy yourself some new McFarlane action figures and statues. You deserve it. Plenty more Fan Fest ahead on IGN, so don't go anywhere.
Fan Fest is presented by War Robots Frontiers. Pre-register now for an exclusive reward.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today. IGN Store has it all. From clothes and collectibles to vinyl records, accessories, model kits, and action figures from the biggest and best franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Star Wars, Fallout, Dungeons & Dragons, and more. Whatever your pop culture passion, you're guaranteed to find something you love. There are new and exciting products hitting the store every week, like the Wasteland-ready Fallout Vault 33 hoodie, which pairs perfectly with the working wearable Pip-Boy. Plus, high-quality IGN store exclusives like the powerful and spicy Star Wars Darkside Hot Sauce by Truff. We've even got merchandise for you to rock while tuning in to the IGN shows and podcasts you love. Or cap off a long day by relaxing to the soundtracks of your favorite video games, like Cyberpunk and The Last of Us. And the best part? You don't even need to leave the house to go there. Just head to store.ign.com and start shopping today. The IGN Store. You deserve it.
In theory, vacations are nice and relaxing. In reality, they can often be a bit hectic, and on the first 2 seasons of The White Lotus, they've been nothing short of catastrophic. Something tells me that trend is going to continue.
Here's a glimpse of what's gone wrong this time in season 3 of HBO's hit black comedy series, right here on IGN Fan Fest.
You know, Mike would only write it if he had something different to say.
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Amen.
Amen.
What's up, IGN Fan Fest? Michael here with the cast of The White Lotus Season 3, who's here to break down all the drama, all the action, and all the biggest moments so far from what promises to be the darkest and most exciting season of The White Lotus yet. Do you all have either a favorite character from season 1 or 2, or one that you feel like your character from season 3 most closely identifies with?
I've always liked Murray Bartlett.
Yeah.
And there might be elements of Jacqueline and Murray, right? Just trying to kind of keep it together. And then, you know, that self-sabotage just sort of kicks in and gets the best of them.
I think that, I mean, there is something at Chelsea Gone Wrong could be Tanya. Like, that there is that, like, over-trust,
the naivete almost.
But I feel like she's got more, like, robustness. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she wouldn't go down that route, hopefully. But yeah, hope so. But also she's my favorite too. So
yeah, there you go.
The exciting thing about these ensemble shows that reset like this is that, you know, Mike would only write it if he had something different to say. Yeah. So I agree. There's not really a person. I mean, there's some alcoholism around in these resort stories inevitably. And I think Laurie's embodying that a little bit.
I've been around a long time, just like a lot of people in this cast have been around a long time. But if I'm being honest about one person in particular, what Steve Zahn did in season 1, it's not so similar to anything that's happened in my life, but the relationship that he has with his son, this wonderful actor, and the conversation in particular of that they have in the pool, it blew me away, because I thought, based on my own childhood, that would be the experience I would have with my child.
Like, I could see her kind of being like Albie, like, because he's trying to do better than what his dad and his you know what I mean?
That's a very good point. I hadn't thought about that.
I kind of feel like they're kind of similar in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say Adam DeMarco and Fred Heschinger. I think it's like, it's a pretty clear through line of the awkward son of the family. It's really kind of fun to get to try and build on the legacy of the people that came before you, but also forge your own path and all that. It's a fun little equation you got to do in your head.
Saxon is his own very unique person. How did you dive into that character? Did you look to previous seasons to take inspiration, or was it just kind of a whole unique experience for you?
I think that Saxon totally stands on his own, and he's different. He's unique, for better or for worse. And yeah, I hope that people, you know, I think it was really important for Mike to make him this lovable douchebag. There's elements of him that were just awful and terrible, but yet you kind of enjoyed watching him.
It was more important for me to do the work on relationship with Michelle and Carrie, and to have that foundation, and to work on Kate and what her journey was, versus to sort of tether, because they're all different stories. So it's it didn't feel like it would behoove me artistically to do that, so I did not do that. But I'm a huge fan of the show. I just didn't, but I did make a point not to talk to anybody about the experience because I really wanted it to feel all new for me.
So Mike has said that this season 3 is probably the darkest season of White Lotus yet. I agree as a fan and as a viewer. I think Tim is central to all of that.
I think it's funny that Mike said darker because I'd say deeper. And, Mike's exploring these themes through Buddhism, meditation, but also through the prism of these rich people who don't do it right or don't take it seriously or think they can buy it. But Tim, ironically, maybe being the richest and shallowest of all of them, begins to understand it and take it seriously because he needs it most.
I want to talk about Victoria because we haven't seen a character like her in the White Lotus yet. Is she aware of all of that darkness?
One of the things about her, I think she's entering the story in a state of grief. So I think she is like not living authentically. I think she's kind of swallowed by her husband and the rules of what family is, and that her view of things is very distorted. The family's very narcissistic. They have no limit. They're kind of colonizing Thailand.
Amy, you have quite a moment with the robbery scene. This might be the first hardcore action scene that we've seen, and you're at the center of it. What was it like shooting that?
It was so fun to film that because it's through the filter of Chelsea. I think it's just Mike's so clever.
He even romanticized that.
She even romanticizes that. She's like, I almost died. Hold me, protect me. So she's like, she's scared, but she's also like, ooh,
yeah,
ooh, he might look after me tonight. So it was so fun to film through her to experience through her eyes.
Carrie, there's a moment in I think it's the first episode where your character sees Jacqueline and Kate talking about her, and she just goes into her room and screams. And that was such an amazing primal moment. Tell me about that.
That's exactly the way it's written in the script. Mike actually writes that it's this weird, sudden cry that subsides very quickly. So those moments, which sometimes might appear to be spontaneous actor moments, are actually just thoroughly good writing. And it's wonderful to have Mike there to be like, yes, that was the thing that I wrote, to do it, to execute it to his satisfaction as an actor, because you want to make him happy just because he's so talented and because he's leading with such love and generosity.
Thanks to the cast of The White Lotus Season 3. Be sure to stick around for more IGN Fan Fest.
Fan Fest is presented by Mecha Break. Open beta available now on PC and Xbox with crossplay.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Before our next block of trailers, just a quick disclaimer. If anyone watching is allergic to Batman, you should probably leave the room because the next few minutes of IGN Fan Fest contain large amounts of Batman and were processed in a facility that also processes other DC superheroes.
Okay, now that's out of the way, here's a look at Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League right here on IGN Fan Fest.
The operation to take over Amatsukuni has begun! You are all ammunition! Bullets! Right! What the heck is that?
You can fly?
Come on! Don't tell me you're already done!
Hey, funny man. You are going to regret getting cocky with me.
Nobody can beat me under the waves! The water is my home, and it's always on my side! I wouldn't be so sure. That's an ultrasonic shield. You're not going anywhere.
Bad idea! This fight is over! Don't you get it? This is what happens when you face the might of the Emerald Ray!
Hey. Science ninja technique. Decoy body.
When did you do that?
I was never inside to begin with. Sweet dreams.
When superheroes die in the pages of comics, it's usually not permanent. When superhero TV shows come to an end, it tends to be a bit more fatal. However, if there's one thing we learned about Matt Murdock over the course of his Netflix series, it's that he can take a beating, and not even the show's cancellation could keep him down.
Later this year, The Man Without Fear returns in an all-new Disney Plus original series, Daredevil, Born Again. In just a moment, the stars of the show will be taking the stand for cross-examination. But first, if it pleases the court, direct your attention to Exhibit A, an exclusive clip from the show right here on IGN Fan Fest.
They're gonna be right here. They're gonna be here any minute, okay? You just
I don't think Aaron and I fully comprehended how much of a character that is until we met you. Got to know you. We're like, oh my God, it's a completely different guy.
Charlie Cox can see.
Hello and welcome to IGN's Fan Fest discussion about Daredevil Born Again, which I'm very excited about. So guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So Charlie and Vincent, I'm going to start with you guys in terms of when the Netflix show ended, did you think you'd ever be back as these characters, especially in this capacity with a new show and everything?
Well, we actually had a very different experience as it pertains to this. So I was convinced we were done. And, when we got that phone call in 2018, I moved on emotionally, obviously being quite sad about the whole thing. But Vince and I would talk occasionally, and he was convinced that at some point we would get a phone call and we'd be back. And I would get off the phone and think that he was crazy. When I heard from Kevin Feige in 2020, I was shocked, blown away.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that, we all knocked it out of the park with the Netflix show. My sons turned me on to all these Avenger movies that the MCU was making, and I just figured there must be a bunch of clever people over there. They're knocking out of the park every movie. Why wouldn't they recognize good stuff when they see it?
Justin and Aaron, when the show starts, Matt has actually put away the suit. He's not Daredevil anymore. Can you talk a little bit about the thinking behind that? Like, why is he not Daredevil anymore?
Yeah, the entire season, he and also in some ways Fisk is denying part of their true selves, right? And they're trying to work within a system. And so there's an extremely pivotal event that happens that causes him to put it away. And the event has to be huge. It has to be incredibly important because it's going to change a core piece of like who he is. And so, we wanted to make sure that we told that story right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prior show on Netflix being genuinely the masterpiece that it is, to us, one of the reasons why that was because you guys really did achieve making these guys feel human. There's consequence to everything. And it wasn't just in the drama, it wasn't just in the tragedy, it was in the consequence of violence. And so to start off the show with the ultimate act of violence and how that grief ripples out to the rest of it seemed like the perfect way to kick off this continuation of the spirit of that.
Yeah. And this show is, because you guys obviously have done Moon Knight and Loki, which were obviously MCU shows, but more traditionally superhero-y. Like obviously Daredevil is always more grounded in reality. Was it kind of a big change for you to have to jump into something like this?
No, we kind of took to it like ducks in water because, in our indie film world, we're very often telling a story that's a two-hander, and it's very much about like the stakes of those two people, And so for us, we were really excited where the stakes, of course, they're sky high, but they're emotional. There really is what's going to happen to these two people and the people that they love and care about. And of course, there's the stakes of the city of New York and all of that. But the reason you're there is not worrying about these buildings. You're worrying about the people within them. And that came really naturally to us. The idea of not having supernatural stakes felt great.
Sure.
Yeah. Everything these guys are saying to you right now is just total nonsense. No. Everything they're saying to you right now is why I love them as directors. They're like my favorite directors ever now, and they are just incredible. And that's because they think
you haven't worked with any good directors.
Yeah, right. The guy who works with Kubrick.
I mean, honestly though, it was really important to Charlie and I to get incredible writers, incredible directors. I think that anybody would be lucky to have these two at the helm of anything they're doing. It really. I never had to worry about a thing. I knew that when they were directing, all I had to do was show up, do my shtick. They would tell me if I was getting it wrong. And I'd get it right. And that's it.
All right,
he just showed up. That's what's happened. Yeah.
This is going to get really cheesy, so I'm going to love it on this. But this should be said, is like the challenge of this show for us was not that it was grounded and that it was more human than other superhero content, but really it was that the bar was set so high with the Netflix show and you have such an admiration for it, you have such a respect for it, and going into this it needs to reach that bar, and a big, obviously huge part of that is the characters and the work you guys did on that. And not just like the honor of like being able to like collaborate with you guys on that or just see it or ask you guys questions about it, but there probably won't be another time in our lives we're going to walk into something that already has this amazing legacy, and you guys already two of the best living actors already have these characters figured out for how many years? 15
decades,
years?
yeah.
10 years. And you guys already have every little nuance figured out. You've lived with it for so long. That's a huge opportunity, and it's also a lot of pressure to get it right. I remember when we were on Moon Knight with Ethan Hawke in Moon Knight, and he was talking about the work that you did. Yes, he's like my best friend, Vincent. He's like, I have such an admiration for what he's done with his character on Daredevil that I feel like here on Moon Knight, if we can capture that spirit, that ambition of doing something like that will be in good shape. And he would motivate us by telling about your successes here.
Yeah. But also, you know, so when you've played a character for this long, one of the dangers is that directors come in, they don't feel like they can tell us things. And the truth is we don't want that. We want input. We want to see, you know, you easily can kind of forget or misinterpret a moment or a scene or forget where you're coming from. And it's really important to have directors that can, you know, find that balance between honoring, respecting what you bring to the character, but also, you know, identifying areas where maybe we could try something different, and maybe there's something here that you haven't quite seen. And when you find that collaboration, it's kind of priceless.
Sure. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting is I think our earliest conversations were just trying to find, like, you had to kind of spoil your process a bit for us. You know, you had to tell us your character's secrets. Right. But once we understood those and what your pain and pleasure principles were and all of that, it felt like once we knew that, our job was to just capture that honestly, and then we could all play around, and we could push in one direction or another, because we're not making like a base misunderstanding of like, is this scene scary, you know, or not, you know? And that was like so helpful, as those early conversations of all the groundwork you guys have. You might even think it's obvious, you know, and it's not. It's very deeply buried in there, and we're able to kind of run along with a camera after you after that.
Charlie, please don't take this the wrong way, and this may sound really silly, but what's so funny is that obviously you play an American in the show. I don't think Aaron and I fully comprehended how much of a character that is until we met you and got to know you. We're like, oh my God, it's a completely different guy.
That's so funny.
That's funny. Yeah. That's a compliment. He's not going to take that.
Charlie Cox can see.
When people ask me about the character and how he's different from me, the thing I always talk about is like, in real life, I'm like such a people pleaser, and you know, I mean, I don't like anyone feeling uncomfortable and stuff. And what's so fun about playing Matt is he doesn't give a shit what people think. He will tell you exactly how it is and let you handle your own feelings, and it's actually quite freeing.
The only thing is you do have that heavy heart of darkness and deep dark past. You know, same thing.
Vincent, so Fisk seems to have stepped away from his life of crime. Is it fair to say that, I mean, I've only seen the first two. Is it fair to say that's true, that he's...
It's not fair to say that.
Okay.
It's nice to say it, and I think he felt the same way. I think he was trying to live in the daylight, and I think he'll continue to try, but I think the struggle gets harder and harder. And but you know, the guy is on a mission. You know, his mission is to stretch out his reach as far as it will go until he's stopped somehow. And he's accomplishing that in this first new season. There's nothing but badness that's going to happen from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is the kingpin of crime ultimately, right? Okay. So when we start off the first 15 minutes or so, which don't involve Fisk quite yet, but it really does feel
15 minutes is okay.
You can handle that, right?
16.
It really does feel like the original show in terms of, you know, Foggy and Karen and Matt are back together. How intentional was that for you three in terms of trying to maintain or bring back the feel of the Netflix show, even though knowing that this show is going to be something different and move in other directions, of course. Were you really working to try to bring that feeling back for fans of the Netflix show?
one of the things that is so admirable about the Netflix show is the way that it feels. It kind of has a really specific tone. It's really hard to hit because it's about people and it also is about heroism. And often those two things start feeling arch if you start doing it wrong, you know? And so, so getting the feeling that you have in the very beginning of like a warm hug, right? Of seeing the characters we love back together and seeing that they've evolved in some ways and trying to get that out of the way, like what happened in the last 6 years. It was really important because it is called Born Again and we're going to blow all that apart. You know, like it is a new story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's no secret that there was a kind of a slight shift in direction halfway through. One of the things that we'd had tried to do early on, which we have all discussed and totally understand that an admirable thing to try and do was do something a bit different. We're lucky that we work for a studio and we work for bosses who, were willing and excited to do that and also able to see when it wasn't quite working and pivot. One of the things with the show in its first iteration was to kind of distance ourselves a little bit from the history, just a little bit, maybe just to not reference it as much. And so when the pivot was made and these guys were brought in to help us bring all the previous shot material together with new material that had been written and was being added, was to tie the history back into the show. And so we, doing that early on in the first episode, in the new pilot that Dario wrote, our showrunner, was, one of the first things that was talked about and needed. It was felt, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
It's really
Thank
a pleasure
you.
to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck with the season
Thank
and
you so
season
much.
2.
FanFest is presented by Rush of iCore. Learn more at upperdeck.com/iCore.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Well, IGN Fan Fest 2025 is almost near the end of its life, but we didn't want to end things without taking down a completely different, majestic beauty with us. Death of a Unicorn is the upcoming horror comedy about a family that accidentally murders a mythical creature with their car, only for all hell to break loose afterwards. Want to know more? Of course you do. Please welcome the stars of Death of a Unicorn, Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega.
I don't think I should be in swim shorts for this moment. I know a lot of species in this area are rare, but is this exact, familiar to you?
Familiar to us? No. This is new.
This doesn't seem novel to you?
Yes, it is novel, now that you mention it.
What exactly are we saying this is, though?
I think we know exactly what it is.
What I can say with total confidence is Elliot here has hit a horse-like mammalia, vertebralia. Would that be the correct classification?
No, but it is horse-shaped with some sort of protrusion or growth.
Right, that's my working theory, too. Feral horse. Mad, tumor-ridden, jumps in the middle of the road. Not the fault of any one driver, per se.
It's a fucking unicorn.
It does seem like a unicorn.
That is such a crazy question. Are we doing spoilers?
No.
You dirty dog.
Classic IGN.
Welcome to IGN Fan Fest. Now, you may think a title like Death of a Unicorn is a metaphor, and in some cases it may be, but it isn't at all this time. I'm talking to Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd about what would happen if you literally killed a unicorn in this new horror comedy from A24. Welcome, Jenna and Paul.
I was going to say something really morbid, but I don't think I can, actually.
I think you can.
No, I don't think
You could. I really am curious. So you could tell me afterward.
Yeah.
First of all, I would consult local clergy, and I think I'd have to schedule appointments with mental health experts across the field because I'd be so traumatized by the fact that I've killed a unicorn. I feel guilty if I kill a bug in my house. So.
You just should tie yourself up to a post in the town square, and allow local civilians to just have their go.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
anything, rocks,
children,
because you'd have to atone for it in some way. And I think to atone for killing a unicorn that's a pretty hefty penalty.
It seems like right now, horror is really having a moment where we're seeing these inventive, unique, original stories, and these concepts come to life. Why do you think horror is the genre of note right now?
I do know that, like, many people like horror films, and that it seems like lately there have been a lot of movies that seem to kind of toe the line, and like Jordan Peele does like these really thought-provoking, artistic, funny, kind of scary kind of movies. And like ultimately we all just want to be moved in some way, right? So if you go see something that's funny and it actually strikes you as being funny, you remember it, or something that's moving and it resonates. Obviously a horror film, those reactions are visceral and they happen with a good one. They can't be denied some of those kinds of feelings you get when you watch them. And a lot of people love that.
This question is for Jenna. Not only do you star in the movie, you are also an executive producer. So what was important to you to bring from the creative aspect to the movie?
Oh, honestly, yes, produced, but this one in particular, sometimes, you feel like maybe you need to be a bit more hands-on with things, but I really love the team behind this film. All of the producers are so cool. Just this entire group, it was some of my favorite people to work with. And again, Alex, he just had so much knowledge and facts and reasons for, behind everything that he was doing, that I think kind of all of us kind of took the step back and allowed him to play. And I think that's like one of the cool things about working with A24 as well, is I feel like they really trust the people that they bring on to do their job and, show off their creative skill and talent, and just let them be creative and imaginative. So I think for me, yeah, I trusted Alex completely. I think we all did.
Jenna, your character seemed to be very against the exploitation of unicorns. Can you talk about her a little bit and the world she's in?
Yeah, Ridley is just kind of a very insecure. She's dealing with the loss of her mom still, which was fairly recent. She doesn't have a very close relationship with her father, Elliot. And I think she's just very confused, very uninterested in her father's job and the people that he has to deal with. I think you see her in this movie and it's just kind of someone dragging their feet. They're not really interested in what's going on, but they don't really have a choice. And I think oftentimes because of her insecurity and because of where she stands, her arc and her story is really interesting because she actually realizes that she is in more control of herself or, you know, her own beliefs than she thinks. I think she just kind of goes along with things because she feels she has to or doesn't really have much fight in her.
Paul, how would you describe your character in contrast? Is he pro-unicorn exploitation?
I think he feels like he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place a little bit. I think that our characters, my character, Elliot, and Jenna's character, have a moral center. I think they're good people, but my wife has died. I'm a single dad now. And to try and provide, to try and be a good father and still have a foot in my career and the business world and trying to balance those two things, I think that what's conflicting within him starts to become more and more exacerbated as this story unfolds, and try and be a decent person and be a worthwhile person.
Do the unicorns have rules about them? Like, you know, in vampire movies, there's different vampire rules for each movie.
But I didn't ask them. They were pretty quiet.
No, they were really standoffish. They had their own trailer and very seldom would mix with the rest of the cast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I really think that the unicorns that we used in this film took a real Daniel Day-Lewis approach to the material. So they were not necessarily there to chit-chat and make friends and schmooze with the rest of the industry. I was constantly hanging out on set. So we left them alone and they left us alone. But there was I feel as if a kind of a respectful working relationship.
I mean, it's good to get this Hollywood scoop of what unicorns are
and
really
honestly,
like.
I feel like they can do anything. They can do horror, but they can do comedy and they can do drama.
So talented. There's a scene that didn't make it that I truly believe was like Oscar-worthy emotion between brother and brother. You have to watch because there's hints of it there, and it's just they're so layered and nuanced. And you're right, a lot of people wouldn't be this honest, I think, about what it's like working on a set. But I think
truly,
you know, just the environment that was created on set was so cozy.
Sounds great. I'm sure we'll see this all over the headlines. Jenna, your character is named Ridley, and there's a pretty excellent homage to Alien in the trailer for Death of a Unicorn. Is it safe for me to assume your character and a cat will be the sole survivors in the house?
Oh, well, that is such a crazy question. Are we doing spoilers?
I mean, sure.
No, I gotta
try. You dirty dog. You cannot. We cannot. I can't.
Okay.
Classic IGN.
You know, we gotta try, man.
Just you're good. God, you're good.
In the movie, are there any other homages or references that are particularly interesting?
One that I know off the top of my head is there's a dream sequence that I have that is like really kind of dramatic and campy, and it's based off of the dream sequence that Nicolas Cage has in Raising Arizona.
Jenna,
Mm-hmm.
That makes me more excited for this movie.
There are also elements that so you look at it and say, oh my God, this is like E.T. Alex were certainly inspired by, including Jaws. My characters and Jenna's character, our last name in the film is Kintner, and Jaws fans will understand what that name means.
Is there anything else either of you would like to add that you would like fans to know about the movie before they go see it?
I will say, honestly, Jenna won't say this because this is not how Jenna is or who she is, but she's incredible.
Cut him off.
Honest to God, I think all of us were so blown away. She's amazing in the movie, as is the rest of this cast, which is not a very big cast. All the actors that are in it, and there's so many of them are just beloved, like Richard E. Grant and Anthony Carrigan. I mean, like they're truly like so. Every single one. Will Poulter is so funny, and Téa Leoni is hilarious. But it's such a unique thing. It's like a really fun kind of ride, but it's a unique experience amongst this weird cabal, this strange group of people, plus unicorns that hopefully. They see it, they're going to say, oh, that was funny and kind of scary and a lot of fun and unlike anything I think I've really seen up to this point, hopefully.
Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about unicorns and so much more in the movie Death of a Unicorn. It is in theaters March 28th. And keep it tuned to more Fan Fest.
That's how it started. Basically, it just did well enough where it's like, hey, now do you want to adapt it into a comic? And I'm like, sure. And yeah, now it's an anime.
Hello, we are here with the creator of The Beginning After the End. You may know him as Turtle Me. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I've read quite a bit of the story. How did you come up with the idea for a character to reincarnate with all his advanced knowledge right at birth? I mean, to me, it sounds great. It's like pretty much a New Game Plus kind of story, but does it come from a personal place for you? How did you arrive there?
Right. As much as I would love to take credit for pioneering this, there's been a lot of stories that had this sort of theme into it where, you know, reincarnation, the whole isekai genre that's so popular right now. 10 years ago when I started writing it, it wasn't as popular, and there was a couple of like light novels in Japan that I was reading that kind of inspired me. It's like, oh, this is really cool, and like I don't really see this in English. And so that was sort of like my mind going into, oh, like I wonder if this is a story that I could kind of write. And it came from a place when, you know, I was working my day-to-day job, and, you know, after work, just to kind of unwind, to de-stress, I would, you know, just start writing for fun. And that was sort of my outlet.
Awesome. I mean, were you inspired by any other manga, anime, movies, books, stories in general when you were creating this story?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up reading so much that The Beginning After the End has sort of become this culmination of a lot of different stories that I just digested throughout like elementary, middle school, high school, college. You know, I was a big fan of manga growing up. You know, I would, back when it wasn't as accessible as it is today.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, starting from that, I also read a lot of like just fantasy epics, starting with like, you know, Aragon,
cool.
Yeah, and Lord of the Rings, like all the like the classics. And it kind of, you know, there was a sort of a niche that I was interested in that wasn't really available in the States in English. So I started looking in like Korean web novels and like Chinese like wuxia novels as well, and just sort of spiraled down from there. Yeah, so just to name like a couple, again, Aragon, the whole fantasy epic, really inspired me to write out this fantasy world. And like Mushoku Tensei is a title that really made me think about what reincarnation would be like. And so just to name those two, those were some cool inspirations that always spoke back to me when I began writing T-Bait.
Awesome. I mean, it's great to get inspiration. And I want to get back to what you said earlier, in that this is an English American title, and it's rare to see that sort of story adapted into a Japanese anime. I think it's only happened a few times, so the fact that T-Bait is going that way is pretty special. Could you talk about how this came about?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there were a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of, you know, partners that were advocates of, you know, trying to make The Beginning After the End into an anime. And so, you know, I don't want to discredit any of the hard work that they put into making the anime happen. Some parts of it I'm not really too privy of, but I do know that Crunchyroll and Tapas and I have been in talks for a really long time about, making the anime happen. And as things were actually, starting to move in the right direction and, things were all clicking, Studio ACAT actually was the one that volunteered and, raised their hand and be like, we really like this story and we want to adapt it. And so, it's an honor that a studio and a director was so, just liked my story enough to want to volunteer to do that, which doesn't happen very often.
Is the beginning after the end anime a pretty faithful recreation of the story your readers are familiar with, or would you say there are new and different elements added to it? Will they end in basically the same way?
I would say for the most part, it really does stay faithful to the source material. However, the director does have his visions, and so far it's been really cool seeing those. In the end, the anime is a very different medium compared to the comic and for the novel, and so the director coming in as the expert in this medium as the anime, I've learned a lot about how the same story might be told in a little bit different way.
What do you think new watchers who haven't read the beginning after the end, what do you want them to take away from it?
I would like to think that the beginning after the end has layers where it can be enjoyed on a surface level. I hope that it can be just enjoyment content where you don't have to think too deeply and you can just turn on the TV and watch it. But for the people that do want to think a bit more and want to sort of explore why the main character or the cast sort of made the choices that they did, I hope that the story that I tell, kind of creates those sort of layers where it's not just a pure action like adventure story, but it also delves into the identity of a king that wasn't the perfect human, that has reincarnated, has a second chance, that to live in a world where he has things that he was missing in his previous life, friends, family. And so I touch upon a lot of those sort of characteristics, like those character choices, and the action fantasy part is just like the backdrop of it.
I want to talk a little bit about what we started this conversation with, your pen name, Turtle Meat. Where did this come from?
It came from a place in the past where I did not think that it would be used this publicly. So a little bit of regrets there. I wish I thought of something cooler, but I'm glad that it sticks out, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a question that always gets asked, like it's an unusual name, right? But it really just came from, I had to create a user ID for the online publishing platform that I was on, and I was just thinking about, when a reader reads the author username, I wanted to think, oh, okay, this writer won't be writing that fast, like a turtle, slow and steady.
Oh.
Yeah, and I guess it was a way of me putting less pressure on myself, and like, okay, I'm like a turtle. I'll just write slowly. This, because it started off as a hobby. I'm gonna do it for my enjoyment, and at a pace that I want to. And so the whole slow and steady wins the race sort of thing.
Oh, that's great. I want to, again, touch on something you discussed earlier. You said you were working your regular job when you were starting the story, and you do have a really interesting story as a writer. I saw previously you had mentioned in a different interview that you had a steady job in finance when you started writing as an outlet, and then you partnered with Tapas, and it is lesser known, and you self-published. So can you talk about that journey and the leaps you took to get to where you are today?
Right, yeah, that's a great question and a lot to think about. But I think when I first started off, again, I really just thought of writing as a hobby, as an outlet. It was something that I could do to turn off my brain or to use a different part of my brain. And so, I didn't really think too much of it, but at what point that kind of started to change was when more and more readers were sort of tuning in every time I released a chapter. And so it reached the point where I'm like, there's a lot of people kind of reading this. Like I kind of need to be serious about it. And I thought I would be doing a disservice to my fans if I was only, 1 foot in. I wanted to take responsibility of that. And so I started doing it more regularly. I started being a bit more professional and having a set schedule. And that kind of helped really garner a reader base that, trusted that, oh, he's sticking through this. And that's when Tapas came in, where, the editor at the time, Gabby, who I, still work with very closely, she was like, hey, I work for this small company that is this startup. Like, are you interested in just publishing the beginning after the end there? At first, I kind of thought it was a scam, to be honest. But I looked into it. That's how I think too. I looked into it, and I saw that it was pretty cool what they were doing. There weren't that many webcomic platforms that also had web novels at that time, and I thought it would be a cool opportunity to get readers more inclined to seeing the beginning after the end as not just a novel, but a potential comic as well. That's how it started. Basically, it just did well enough where it's like, hey, now do you want to adapt it into a comic? And I'm like, sure. And yeah, now it's an anime.
That's incredible. It changed your whole career.
Yeah. It definitely was not something that I was expecting to be, expecting to happen. Growing up reading so much manga, I always thought that there was a set path for an anime to be made, which is, it had to be a manga first, and it had to have originated from Japan. So it's really cool to be at the forefront of all these barriers being broken.
Is this your second life, kind of like Arthur's?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't think of it that way, but in a way, yeah. I think writing has really given me so many opportunities that I haven't even dreamed of. I didn't even dream of, like, when I was in college and thinking about, like, what am I going to do? Because since from high school all the way to college, when I was majoring in psychology, I was like, I don't really know what I want to do with this. And so being able to, use my degree in psychology and being like, okay, this may be how, like, people think. Just like, in essence, there's no huge theories that I'm using, but, like, just being educated in psychology, I'm a bit more aware of what makes people do certain things and why they think that way. And coming in a full circle, being able to use that in a way that I didn't think I would need to, as in writing, it really is sort of like a second life where I'm using my past knowledge to improve my craft in this new life.
Lastly, I hear you have something special you'd like to share with the audience today.
Yes, I found out not too long ago myself, but there will be a new trailer and key visual coming out next week.
Awesome. So that sounds really exciting. Thank you again, Brandon, for joining us today. There's loads more Fan Fest coming up, so stick around. Remember, if you missed any of our trailers, clips, interviews, or segments from the last 5 days of IGN Fan Fest, you can find them all on IGN.com or IGN's YouTube channel. And make sure you're following us on your social media platform of your choice. We're on all of them, and it's the best way to stay up to date on everything going on in the world of gaming and entertainment.
And hey, if you want to stay up to date and score some exclusive offers, discounts, free games, and loot, why not sign up for IGN Rewards? It's totally free to join, and in addition to getting a bunch of great deals, you can also enter to win some sweet prizes every month. This month, we're giving away some Monster Hunter Wilds Day 1 DLC codes and a super rare McFarlane Toys Spawn statue signed by Todd McFarlane himself.
All right, well, that just about does it for this year's IGN Fan Fest. And if you had a good time watching, we have something else planned later this year you might be interested in: the return of IGN Live.
Last year, we held a massive 3-day event in downtown Los Angeles, showcasing all the same kind of great stuff we've been covering all week here at Fan Fest, but even bigger and live on stage in person. Basically, it's a huge party, and we're doing it again this summer. We'll share more details as soon as possible, so keep an eye out.
Before we go, a huge thank you to our crew working hard behind the scenes to make IGN Fan Fest possible, and an even bigger thank you to everyone watching from home. We hope you had as much fun as we did, and we'll see you next time.
FanFest is presented by the Army National Guard. Rise to every challenge and overcome everything. The next greatest generation is now.
Welcome to Geek Media, a brand new podcast network from IGN Entertainment, where we celebrate games.
Time to begin our Game of the Year.
Tech.
Do the same results at 20 watts.
And entertainment.
Welcome to IGN Live.
We connect you with the stories, voices, and topics you love.
I love Soul Calibur. Banger fighting game series. I wish it would come back.
Geek Media is an ever-growing collection of some of the biggest and best scripted
You just kind of, and you cease to exist.
and unscripted podcasts in the world.
We were talking about a Spider-Man video game. It's not like, a 401k or anything.
And they're all told through a vibrant audio community that celebrates and empowers the geek in everyone.
Absolutely adored that game. I think it's one of the best platformers made.
We're building a global community of enthusiasts, igniting growth and creativity across every platform, and we invite you to join the conversation. And hey, when you're here, everything is better. That's why Geek Media is everywhere you are. We reach over 490 million people every month across 110 countries. And with over 83 million followers across every social media site, you won't have to go far to find us.
Hey, what's up, Super Ninfriendos? We got this locked down.
You can tune into any of our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. We can't wait to geek out with you. Geek Media. Behind every story is a geek.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts.